Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
I'm kind of surprised Marcel Reed didn't get one of the all SECs. Little surprised. I mean, how does a guy look? I've been complaining about complainers. Okay, I feel like I'm going to fall off this stage. I've been complaining about Notre Dame complaining, Texas complaining at their point. So I'm sorry to start off the show with a bit of a complaint. But how's a guy that up until the up until the Texas game, was considered a Heisman, but homeboy can't even make all SEC first team, second team, third team, and the second team had two dudes on there, Trinidad Chambliss and Ty Simpson. I don't know, I find that interesting.
I don't have an issue with Trinidad Chambliss being all conference. I don't get Tyler Simpson.
Mm-hmm. Pavia was first team, by the way.
Who was third team?
Third team was Gunnar Stockton.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that one.
All I can say is, well, first of all, people are typically going to look at stats, and secondly,
people are dumb.
They're going to look at probably that last game.
Yeah. Did they watch Ty Simpson's last game?
Apparently not.
Yeah. It's whatever.
Well, look, I've said this, but even before you came here, you have to be typically head and shoulders above everybody to get postseason awards, all SEC at A&M. I remember when Eric McCoy didn't get anything, right? Some other guys like Josh Reynolds finally, I think, was second team, because a lot of the old guys that are voting, hey, I've been covering Georgia for years. I've been covering Florida for years. They almost have to be reminded that the SEC extends beyond the Sabine River.
Look, I'm actually not saying he belongs in front of someone. Mm-hmm. That's not the argument. I'm just surprised that he wasn't one of the first four mentioned. It's just surprising to me when I believe Gunnar Stockton towards the end of the season was talked about as a Heisman, but not most of the season.
Yeah, Gunnar Stockton closed pretty fast. A lot of the season,
As did Pavia, by the way.
He was okay, and Pavia closed fast. Everybody likes Pavia. I'm sure Pavia got some votes as a career achievement award.
Yeah. And look, Chambliss is a kind of a cool story, too, considering he didn't start the season as the starting quarterback.
I had him as a Heisman Trophy contender for a long time. And then he had a couple of subpar games. But, yeah, I mean, he's a good player.
Just surprising. Not mad at any voter, not mad at any player above Marcel. I would have just figured Marcel would have, if they're going to put four, Marcel would have been one of those four this year based on what A&M did as a team, what Marcel did as a player.
I'm sure what people are holding against him is the first half against South Carolina and then the second half against Texas.
Yeah. And look, I think about it too. Like, I just shocked by it. Let's go through the rest of the 2025 all SEC teams. We have 6 Aggies, is that right? Yeah, 6 Aggies spread across 3 teams. You got Trey Zune on the first team, Casey Concepcion, and Cassius Howell.
3 guys you absolutely cannot, like I said, head and shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
KC, is he at 3 different positions? Did he make first team at 3 positions?
KC is a wide receiver.
Yes, that's correct.
All purpose and return specialist.
Yeah.
He's good.
He like 1775.
Like 1775.
On the third team, we've got Chase Basantis, Mario Craver, Torian York.
Okay. Can't argue any of those.
No.
Will Lee, surprisingly, I haven't heard his name.
Yeah.
That's probably the only one that jumps out at me that I'd say. Yeah, that's probably the only one that jumps out at me. I thought Onyedem had a pretty good year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, in my mind, like, again, going back to Marcel, just overall, it just, when in the history of SEC football, at least in the last 30 years, okay? If you can remember that, has an 11-1 team felt like, in the SEC, they're 11-1, but who are they playing?
Yeah, it's funny that
Isn't that weird?
so many people try to discount what they did.
Yeah, I mean, Marcel's good, but like, who did he play?
I think he would have been probably a first or second teamer had the voting been taken right after the LSU game.
Yeah. No, it's a full season. There's
But
no
of course,
doubt.
he had 2 interceptions. And I think that's probably what hurt him. People look at the interceptions. You know, that's probably held against him too. Hey, I hope it drives him.
How many interceptions did he finish with?
What was it, 10? 10.
Okay, and how does that compare? Can you, Caden, just do a quick search between Povs and the rest of the crew? Just look, because maybe that's the. And again, I don't know how I personally would have voted. Right, I would have probably sat down, looked at some numbers, gone back to a couple of highlight plays, but I just in my mind, they voted preseason. Excuse me, I don't know why I said it like that. Preseason Marcel Reed. That's who they thought he was at the end of the year. And not looking at the entire body of work.
I mean, he had a really good body of work. The only guy that they mention on those that I go, Pavi, I don't have an issue with. Chambers, I don't have an issue with. Stockton finished strong. Simpson, I don't get, but okay.
You have some of those numbers?
I do. Pavia finished with 27 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Gunnar Stockton finished with 23 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
Pretty good.
And Ty Simpson finished with 26 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
Okay, so Marcel had more than all of them. Okay.
And again, Pavia, I mean, he might win the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to, but he might. So, I don't think you even said you don't have an issue with that.
No, I don't even know if I have an issue with anybody. Like, I'm just surprised.
If there's the one guy on there that I just don't think deserves it is Ty Simpson. I'm not saying he had a bad year, but he cost his team in a lot of games.
Yeah, look, it is what it is.
Now, remember at the beginning of the year, everybody was pushing the Oklahoma quarterback.
That's right. That's right. And look, that's part of it is a campaign.
And Arch.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, hopefully Marcel's holding up a different trophy, right?
Yeah, hopefully. I think Marcel, we understand he's coming back. He said so, which is a wise move. If Marcel reduces his interceptions and just learns to take some checkdowns, which would reduce his interception, and take the layups. I'm talking about the layup runs, not go out there trying to make it's there. Then, we could be talking about him again as a Heisman contender.
What do you think is? Look, I know he had turnovers towards the end of the season, and
work on that deep ball too.
But like, what is a acceptable number of picks from an offense like A&M?
I don't know. Generally, I think a good rule of thumb is to have 3 times as many touchdown passes as interceptions.
And he had 27 touchdown passes?
The problem with that 4
25.
times.
25?
4 times. 4 times. Because if you have 6.
40 would have been great. 40 touchdowns?
Yeah, but if you have 6 interceptions, 24 touchdown passes, so 6 to 4, a 4 to 1 ratio.
4 to 1 ratio.
Because if you have 10 interceptions, but you threw 40 touchdown passes, I would wonder. I'm going to go back when we get and look at Johnny Manziel. What was in 2000 when he won the Heisman? Of course, he also had 1,000 yards rushing.
But Marcel, not to make this all about Marcel in this segment, but Marcel has put himself in a unique elite category for A&M quarterbacks historically.
In what
I'm
way?
just saying, like we're going to remember him as one of the more elite quarterbacks in A&M history. Not Johnny, right? But I mean, not Bucky. So far, I mean, he's started a season and a half basically.
Yeah. I think
success-wise, numbers-wise, like he's putting himself in very good categories.
I mean,
very good.
He just started quarterback for the first team that got into the playoff.
Yeah,
that says a lot right there. And I believe we talked in the offseason that this is a guy that could pass for 3,000 yards, and he's there, right?
How many yards did he finish with?
Just under 3,000.
Yeah, so he still has
he's going to go over 3,000.
Still has another game.
Yeah.
So he'll be over 3,000 yards passing. So I thought he'd run more.
I did too. By the way, I wouldn't be. I mean, at one point it looked like a lock that you'd have one or two receivers with over 1,000 yards receiving. Hopefully A&M plays more than one game. But Casey Concepcion, 886 yards receiving. So he's one big game away from that.
Hopefully that'll come this next game.
And I believe Mario Craver's right around the same area, right? 825-yard touchdown.
And he would be there, but he got hurt.
Yeah.
And had to miss some time.
So
good receivers.
You could have a couple receivers there. If you have a long run, you'll definitely have a couple receivers.
Yeah. Good. And you know what? At the beginning of the year, Lucci, everybody talked about how those two or those three actually transfer receivers, what difference they can make for the offense. There you go.
Yeah. Hey, this is TexAgs Live.
This is TexAgs Live. It's brought to you by David Gardner's Jewelers.
And we're currently in a room.
This whole room is called the Rollo Insurance Studio.
This hour has got a name as well.
Yes, this is the Go Hour, brought to you by the Warehouse at CC Creations.
And we are currently hanging out atop of the Holistic Planning
Cool Zone.
So cool to be here.
Yeah.
If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can call us up on the
Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline.
And that number is, Obi?
979-693-1150.
Every time you do it, I know you know it, but I wonder if you might get it wrong.
Yeah, because I've kind of got that dyslexic thing. I want to say 797 instead of 979.
And you're looking very nice today.
Well, I got something I have to do, professionally.
Yeah.
We got to head out to Houston.
Oh, no.
And for the Lombardi award. Yeah, I want to say trophy. That's the
Super Bowl
NFL, right? The Lombardi Award, there's media opportunity to talk with the finalists. And one of those finalists, of course, is Cassius Howell. And that's at 1:30. So as soon as we get off, we're going to be heading out. And then
3 finalists, is it?
4.
4, okay.
There's 2 guys from Texas Tech.
Yep.
Rodriguez and Bailey.
Yep.
And then there's Caden Proctor from Alabama, the offensive tackle, and Cassius Howell. And then later tonight, they have the dinner and ceremony.
So you'll be there for like 16 hours.
I should get home, if I'm lucky, around 11:30 tonight. Yeah.
Oh, good times.
Hey, it's the job. This is the profession we have chosen.
This is right. Look. I'm not
getting angry.
We're going to fancy dinners and like watching celebrities win awards. It's not bad.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain. Like I told you, this is the profession we have chosen.
Yeah.
What movie is that from?
I don't know.
Really?
Tell me. Maybe
Godfather Part 2?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Is it Hyman Roth?
Hyman Roth.
Thank you. Yes.
They're watching. He's watching the UCLA.
That's right.
USC football.
I felt I was listening to Custer's Last Stand with your accent, but yes, now I know it's Hyman Roth, my dear uncle Hyman Roth.
Yeah, because he's talking about how he was close.
He says he didn't ask questions either.
What's the guy from that got shot in the eye? Mo Green.
Mo Green. Yeah.
And they didn't even build a statue.
I didn't ask questions
because this is the. But I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to be down there to ask questions to Cassius Howell because this is the profession we have chosen.
Let's see if Panicking Cade Bickham has anything to say this morning. Behind the glass is
Chaos Cade.
Chaos Cade. What's up, buddy?
What's up, guys?
Well, this is kind of a different, this is a relaxed Cade. Like, hey, my parents are out of town. I'm inviting the friends over. No Nick here looking over my shoulder. I feel pretty good about owning the show today. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good so far. It's like it's like 2014 World Series. I'm like Madison Bumgarner coming in to finish out the World Series. That's what it feels like right now. Nick Savage is out for a week, so I'm the long reliever here.
Nick had to go see his parole officer. It'll be a little while. He'll be back though. Anyway, tell us something. I'm kidding. Nick hasn't seen him in years. All right, Kay, tell me something good. Tell me something footballish. I want something football from you.
On the football side, I think that the point that I resonated most with this morning was from OB about Ty Simpson. I think that I know the numbers look pretty good, but watching him in recent weeks, he personally has not looked very fantastic, and his numbers have dipped a little bit, and he's starting to look a little bit more inaccurate. So he was the person that I would question being on the all SEC teams. I would have put Marcel in over him personally, but obviously, I have some bias there as well.
Well,
so
what I don't get is why you even have anybody. If you have two on the second team, why do you have a third team?
That's a good point.
Yeah, that was confusing as well.
Look at the votes. Hey, Bickham, I'm not going to lose our entire audience by asking this question. I'm going to lose some of it, so I apologize in advance. But I was added to a tweet last night from the B team about a Messi-Ronaldo debate that happened on the B team. First off, why are they talking Messi-Ronaldo on the B team? Look at OB.
Why is Ronaldo so messy? Typically, I see him, he looks pretty neat and well put together.
There's dad jokes, and then there's...
That was pretty good.
What?
Granddad jokes. Sorry, what?
What's the joke?
How did that come up on the show?
So
and why?
Essentially, well, there wasn't really a debate occurring. It was more like Bronny was talking about we were discussing most skilled sportsmen in whatever, and we were talking about Messi being Bronny had Messi as his most skilled sports person of all time. That was the take.
So I'm not going to get into it. I'll just say this: Messi deserves it because he won the World Cup. I would rather have Ronaldo because he won at several different clubs. But whatever. I mean, there's it's the. You want to talk about this, Opie?
You know what I like about Ronaldo is he's
Messi.
He told everybody, on a national stage or international stage not to drink Coke. He said, remember, he says water.
Oh yeah.
And like Coke's stock plunged that day. Yeah, so. That's why I like Ronaldo. Is he Portuguese?
Yeah, he's from Portugal. They'll be playing in Houston, by the way. So
if you're from Portugal, are you Portuguese? So if it's one person, are you Portugoose?
Portuguese.
Okay.
That's exactly right. Okay. Let's try to keep some of our audience. We go to the Angry Elephant. Never mind. Caden Schwartner. Hey, buddy.
Good morning.
Angry Elephant News and Social Center. I know you've got some notes. Hey, speaking of soccer, we got a soccer coach.
I do. Exciting news for Aggie soccer. Texas A&M has hired Bobby Shuttleworth as the next head coach of Aggie soccer. He comes to College Station from Florida State, where he helped lead the Seminoles to 2 national championships in his
the last
time there.
3 years, right?
In the last 4 years, as his time as an assistant coach. During his time at Florida State, the Seminoles posted the best win percentage in the country at 85.4%. He also is a former MLS goalkeeper with a 14-year professional career.
Who do you play for?
You don't know. You're making that face like you knew, but you don't know. You haven't even Googled it.
I could look quickly.
No, I don't really
we've
care.
lost it.
I just thought, MLS, I knew Dallas way back in the day had the sidekicks. And
that's not the MLS. That's the indoor soccer league.
Okay. The guy used to take off his shirt.
Yeah,
and throw
tattoo.
The plane?
No, his name was Tattoo.
Oh, yeah. He had them? Tattoos?
No, that was just his name.
Okay.
Can I tell you? Oh, gosh, we lost everybody. Can I tell you a story about Tattoo?
Yeah, tell me.
So years ago, when I started my career, I was the director of communications for the San Diego Sockers. Okay. A soccer team in San Diego, indoor soccer, right?
All right.
We played the Sidekicks in the championship game in our arena, the San Diego Sports Arena. Okay. Tie game, 2 minutes left.
2 minutes.
Okay. They had a guy in the penalty box. So,
they have penalty box
right?
in soccer.
So, yeah, in indoor soccer.
Okay.
Weird rules. So you would think the San Diego Sockers are about to win their, I think, 11th national championship, right? Or 11th world champion, whatever they call it.
Whatever.
And Tattoo scored, even though they were a man down to win the championship, and I was robbed of a championship ring. They were actually going to size me for a ring as the director of PR.
Yeah, that's a very underwhelming story.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to like it at all. Give me one football thing to end the segment with.
So
Wartner. It could be a comment.
Interesting note: the last time that Texas A&M had 6 or more players receive all SEC honors was 2020, when we went 9-1 and 8-1 in SEC play.
Well,
so there's a
sense.
correlation between how good your players are and how good your team does.
Imagine that.
Yeah. I hope we don't have to wait 5 years.
Yes, I hope
it's back to back.
Yeah, back to back. They better rebuild that offensive line next year, but to go back to back. But hey, I'm not doubting Elko on anything.
Yeah, me either. We'll hit a break. We will come back. Got more football to talk about. Well, America pigskin football.
Yeah, never a bad time to talk about football.
All right, if the SEC was giving out first team, second team, third team for barbecue, how would that voting go?
Well, your MVP would be 1775.
Yep.
Your offensive MVP, I don't know who that'd be, because I find nothing offensive about 1775 barbecue. In fact, I get more defensive about 1775 barbecue, because someone say, "Hey, let's go eat here," and I say, "No, I don't want to go there. I want to go to 1775 so I can have that first team brisket, succulent brisket, first team, or that that first team, also the pork ribs, that jalapeno cheese sausage.
Yeah.
The jalapeno cheese sausage, that might be your all-purpose.
It's like KC Concepcion in a way. Yeah.
I mean, you got the cheese, you got the beef and pork, you got the jalapeno.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can the mac and cheese get an award?
Oh, the mac and cheese is
queso mac and cheese.
Queso mac, of course, it's an award. It's probably coach of the year.
The coach? Okay.
Well, I don't know. I couldn't think of anything.
I was thinking
else.
offensive coordinator.
Man,
it can't be the main piece.
You know what? It might be newcomer of the year, because who else has
put cheese in macaroni?
Yeah, but this is queso mac and cheese.
It's different.
That's a different.
Even though queso means cheese in Spanish, it is different.
It's kind of like having your Mexican queso, but in macaroni and cheese.
Yeah. Anyway, go to the website, 1775txbbq.com. Call them up, 979-492-6241. It is 1775.
And it's good.
Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games there at Olson wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it. Big PYT fan?
Yeah. I liked a lot of Michael Jackson's music from back in that era.
In that era?
Yeah.
More of a 70s Michael or 80s Michael?
Probably, surprisingly enough, more 80s.
Yeah, like Thriller.
Because it was more the
Beat It.
Jackson 5 before that, which I like, Stop the Love You Save May Be Your Own. I'm not going to sing it. That's a good song, but it's more like soda pop soul. And then, but he'd grown up, and I like that whole Thriller album.
Then he grew up a lot. Yeah, he changed.
Yeah.
It's TexAgs
He
Live.
changed a lot.
A lot. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. OB,
You know where he went to college?
Michael Jackson went to college?
Yeah, Brigham Young.
Pretty good. I mean, pretty good. This after somebody asked the question, did you work on that? Like, we didn't even know we were going to talk Michael Jackson. Have you been just waiting for years? Like, the moment Nuño asked me about Michael Jackson, I'm coming with this commentary.
No.
It just
We're just having a good time here today, like we do every day on the Go Out.
Oh, I don't even know how to transition. Speaking of transition, sorry, what? Georgia. Are they the best example? And I'm being prisoner of the moment. That's my line too. Of a team that actually definitely got better as the season went on.
Yes, I think so. I think there's still a certain amount of questions just how good they are, but they have gotten better.
Do you remember there was a point, and I think it was mid-season, where we're all saying, this is not, and not just our show, like the country was saying, this is not Kirby's old Georgia teams. They don't have the defense. They can't run. They can't pass.
Yeah, they were sounding just like that.
They did, yeah. Noah Thomas has no catches. And then Noah Thomas has like 4 touchdowns in 2 games back-to-back or something like that.
Yeah, I still think they're somewhat limited, but they play so hard.
Yeah.
And
but everybody's limited, right? Right now?
Yeah. Except maybe Indiana. They're playing better. They're it used to be though, you went up to Georgia and you expected to just get suffocated. They were so physical and they were just gonna run at you and mow you down. And then when you had to put everybody in run defense and bring everybody close, they'd throw behind you. They had good enough receivers, not always a George Pickens guy, but McConkey and then the tight end and Bowers. And then on defense, they just beat you up. And I think they still are really good on defense. I just don't know if they're as intimidating as they used to be. Still good, still capable of winning the championship. But yes, I go back to when they early in the year, I think they struggled with Austin Peay. And then almost, I mean, if Tennessee can kick a field goal, they lose to Tennessee.
Yep.
But they've consistently gotten better, and now
the Auburn game, they
could have lost that one.
Yeah, and now they look like a team that it doesn't matter who they play,
Right.
they manhandle. And the reason I bring that up is, I believe the shine of a win and a loss is so bright until the next game, right? So, like right now, thinking about A&M, it feels to me that they're not playing their best football. But are they not playing their best football because the last game I saw they didn't play their best football? But can you actually say that that's how the team is trending, or is it a one game? You could go back to the South Carolina game. You played maybe your best half of the year and also your worst half of the year, right? Like, is A&M, or is it too short of a sample size to really know if a team is playing poorly or great, because the last game we saw was a loss on the road?
Yeah. I think we'll all agree that A&M needs to play better from here on out than they did against Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike Elko might disagree with me. Players might disagree with me and tell me I'm full of it, but they just looked like a team that was not as focused, did not have the same sense of urgency that Texas had. I think Texas played harder than Texas A&M in that game. I do. And I think they were more focused. And I think one of the symptoms of that shows that leads me to believe they weren't as focused as they need to be is, again, in the first half, A&M moves the ball down the field, gets to the 13, 1st and 10, and they jump. Now you have to kick a field goal, it gets blocked. Then you get the ball back, and you go back down, you get to the 18, and you jump. Now you have to settle for a field goal, right? That just didn't strike me as the things you see from a team that's really locked in.
I don't remember, and maybe Caden can look this up, and we'll start in the next segment with it, but like we all remember Ohio State lost to Michigan, but how are they trending the games leading up to it? And because then obviously when the playoffs started, they definitely brought it up a notch.
I remember last year in the regular season, this narrative that was always being repeated was, why can't Ohio State run? Look at the running backs they had. Henderson and the kid from Ole Miss. For some reason, I can't think of his name right now. He had transferred for that year. Anyway,
Quinshon Judkins.
Judkins, thank you. So, and that was this big mystery. Why can't they run? Well, they got into the playoffs and they ran. Okay.
So the game before they lost to Michigan, where they only scored 10 points at home, they beat Indiana to death 38-15.
Okay. So they were trending in the right direction.
Yes.
And Indiana was obviously
number 5 at the time.
Yeah. And Indiana lost. Was it Notre Dame in the first round? Who did they lose to in the first round?
I think it was Notre Dame.
And I think the game was closer than I expected.
I don't remember what the score was.
I mean, I thought they were going to get the brakes beaten off of them, and I think they actually competed in that game.
I think some of us went into
the final was 27-17, but Indiana scored 14 in the fourth quarter, kind of after it was out of reach.
Yeah.
I think going back to Ohio State, a lot of us thought Tennessee would beat them in the first round.
I thought so,
and they just dominated Tennessee, and hopefully A&M will follow a similar formula. That you'll lose to your rival because you didn't play to your ability, and you regroup and come back, and you get 3 weeks to think about what you didn't do right and fix it and become the team that you are.
Ohio State actually won. They won every playoff game last season by at least 10 points. All 4 of them that they played, they won by at least 10 points.
The Texas game was obviously very close.
Right.
Very close.
I mean, Texas, what they were at the 1 yard line, and then
some interesting play calling.
Then ran wide right, lost 4, and then they're going to throw, and the guy gets, Ewers gets blindsided, and it's touch. Texas. People in Austin, I know they listen, so they'll like this. Texas probably wins that game if their defensive coordinator doesn't go brain dead just before the half, and he goes all. They're not going to get the ball back, really. So there's less than a minute to go, and they go in a full, all-out blitz, and Ohio State throws a little screen pass, and it turns into a touchdown just for the half.
OB, they may win the last 2 times they've played Ohio State if they had better offensive play calling too.
That too,
because in that game, especially in that last series, and also this game this year, right? Like as bad as Texas was, some of the play calling,
especially when they get into the red zone.
Yeah. So anyway, they lost. So
they lost. I mean, I'm glad they did.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of when they lose.
Yeah,
it makes me happy.
So weird because, like I said, I grew up a Texas fan, but Texas fans have made me hate them.
Had a conversation yesterday with somebody who was like, "This has been apparent the way they are for years," and I know some great ones. I do know. I mean, not only my wife, I know some really great ones. So
I'll give you a great example of why I don't like Texas fans. And I used to not even think, but so my niece is a sophomore here. And so this woman approaches my brother-in-law and said, I can't remember why they got into the conversation. She says, "Why would you let her go to A&M? That's a cult." And he says something back, "Well, Texas is this. How dare you say that? That's offensive." You come up and make a statement like that to offend someone, and then
get offended.
When he retorts, you get offended.
This morning and we were so late for a break, so I apologize. But this morning I was preparing for the show, and I went on CanesInSight.com because we're going to talk to Danny Enriquez from their site later on the show. And I'm looking at their message board, and I'm like, this message. I think just fans are fans, right? Like, it looks exactly like TexAgs.com. The threads, the titles. And what people are saying, we're going to mop the floor with them. Oh my gosh, I'm really worried about Kyle. Like, it just, Fans are fans.
Yeah.
That's it. We'll hit a break. When we come back, we'll talk about stuff. That's what we'll do. Let's talk duck camp, OB.
All right.
So my favorite is
that a duck
this
camp
is not a duck
show?
camp, but I got a lot in my closet. I would say my favorite is the lightweight hoodie.
Okay.
Okay. But I also have the thick hoodie for
Okay.
when it's cold. Like the other day when it was 34 degrees. And
Yeah, I
went
have mine
for-
in my truck.
Yeah, I have one that's a little different green than yours. And I love to wear it because it's the right size. It's the right, like when it's cold. But the thin one, like I can wear it in the summer.
Mhm.
I can wear it in the winter. I can wear it to work. Hello, like that's similar style to this. Many different ways. They got some great lightweight fishing shirts.
Yeah.
But your favorite, I think, and I'm speaking for you because you've said it on the air before, the hats. You love the hats.
I like that hat. I'm not a hat guy, but I like the hat.
Yeah.
You know, I
wish hats looked better on me.
Huh. Why do you think they don't?
I don't know. I think I'm not going to give the ammo to Billy and anybody else listening, but I think my head doesn't fit a hat well.
Yeah. I think my nose is so big that when I'm wearing a hat, it makes my nose for some reason look even bigger. But that duck camp hat, I like it a lot. It got the cool duck logo on it. Yeah. I was probably going to wear some duck camp today, but then I got called into duty.
Duckcamp.com is a website built for the outdoors, designed for everything else. Use the code TexAgs25 for 25% off your next order. It is Duck Camp. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks is good to be right. All right, trivia. Who's this?
Um,
Turn it up a little bit, guys. Yep, turn it up.
I was first thing I was thinking Sugar Hill Gang, but they were before that.
That was like 1978. This is probably 1988.
And Curtis Blow, that was basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you know what? This is like from 1989
Roughly,
because
yeah.
I was covering the Chapel Hill Bulldogs. They beat A&M Consolidated for the state championship, and somebody in Chapel Hill wrote a song about the football team to that
song.
But I can't tell you.
Young MC, right, David?
Yes.
Run DMC?
No, Young MC. Did you Google?
I did not Google. No,
I think you did. Somebody told you.
Promise I didn't.
How would you know Young MC? You're 12.
I know ball, David. I know ball.
Okay. Well, now that you've said that out loud during the break, I'm going to bring all the 89 rap songs. All right, and you're going to have to guess who they are. We'll do it during the break.
Okay, all right.
I think you Googled or somebody told you. That's what I think.
I will not get all of them right, but I did not Google that one.
I know Too Legit to Quit.
Who's saying that?
Hammer.
That's correct.
Was he still MC at the time, or was he just Hammer?
I think he was still MC Hammer, but I could be wrong.
And what was the one before that?
Can't Touch This?
Oh, yeah, that was it.
And what team was he a ball boy for?
The Oakland Athletics.
That's correct. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Kata Schwartner's got something for us to chew on.
So we've talked about Notre Dame and them opting out of the bowl game, and they're not the only one that have opted out of their bowl game. They just have the biggest story because they got kept out of the college football playoff. But I saw an interesting tweet last night from Reddit College Football. It says, if a team is offered a bowl game and they decline, they should get a postseason ban the following season. Playing football is a privilege.
Well, I don't know how to respond to that because you can't make kids that are opting out like they're leaving, so it doesn't matter, or they can transfer. Like, I don't know. If you don't have a team that can play, if everybody's leaving, you're gonna force like your walk-ons to play, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that because you have different guys. I would not punish the players in 2026 for what the guys in 2025 did. I understand they're saying, yeah, but it's the people in charge. Freeman's still going to be there. Uncle Junior from The Sopranos is still going to be the athletic director.
Yep.
But the players, change.
Yeah,
what I don't like is that Notre Dame has that. I just found out, they have the deal where if they're in the top 12, they automatically get in. I don't think there should be any special arrangements made for Notre Dame or anybody.
So should it be anybody in the top 12 should get in?
Well,
look, they're just going to keep expanding. That's what's going to happen. Who did I read? It might have been the Notre Dame athletic director. Like, we should do 16 because 16 answers all these questions.
Unless you're 17.
Exactly.
I mean, we have people pissed off in basketball because they are not, because they're number 69.
I struggle with allowing people's future to be based on a committee, a sports future.
I agree.
I
don't like committees.
Me neither. PTA? I bet you've never gone to a PTA meeting.
Never went to a PTA.
Yeah, I'm not going.
Do you guys think that we're trending in the direction of getting rid of conference championship games altogether?
Yes.
And I think that's going to be a terrible mistake.
I think they're getting rid of them. I do.
Terrible mistake.
I feel like there should. I don't know. I don't know what I feel.
Why is there even conferences?
Right.
Why isn't everybody? Why is there even going to be conferences if there's not going to be a conference championship?
What is the advantage in today's college football to be in the SEC?
Well, there's the it's a bigger advantage for the team like, say, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, that don't have a bigger following. So you get into the SEC and you're going to get better payout.
But if everybody roughly has the same NIL to use, does it not make sense to be a big fish in the Big 12 like Texas Tech?
It's working for them now.
Yeah.
Because they got to buy, even though you can question the strength of their schedule, which is why Greg Sankey is so dead set on having strength of schedule being a significant metric. Our social center wants to say something.
Yeah, so Kirby, after the SEC championship, was actually talking about in the context of the championship game, them having to play an extra game and how beat up the two teams were. He said those two teams were beat up tonight, and that was the 9th conference game of the year. And we're looking at everybody playing a 9th conference game in the league next year. So the coaches in our league are concerned about it, very concerned about it, and I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't speak my piece and say it's concerning.
You know what I say to that, though? Yeah, it's true that, it's a physical game. And I always say, look, if you're going to win a championship in high schools in Texas, you're probably going to play 16 games. If you're going to win a championship in college now, you're probably going to play 16 games. If you want to play in the NFL, and they all do, you're going to play 17 games just in regular season. For years, they played 16 games against good competition of their own ilk in the FCS. I have a problem with it's just too physical. It's not. But my concern would be, I think you lose something really. We've lost so much about college football that makes it special, and I think you're losing something just really special if you lose conference championship games.
If you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. And what really sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CPA, all on staff, and they take their credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel good about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors.
Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever. And also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group. And they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em.
I mean, OB knew this singer. I'm sure Cade knows this one. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than this.
Yeah.
Now, if you know his real name, that would be impressive.
Rob Van Winkle?
My man! I think something like that.
Huh?
I think it is that. Yeah.
Who's
Did you know that, Cade? From Dallas, Texas.
And he tried to tell everybody he's from the mean streets of Miami.
Yeah.
It is from, he went to like Carson Newman High School. Why do I know that?
I don't know. You know a lot of stuff. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Roller Insurance Studio. Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. Holistic Planning, Cool Zone Time. OB, when we talk about strength of schedule, I know there's other metrics that can kind of illustrate this, but people for A&M who got hit with like, who did you beat? I'm sorry, but if your entire conference is good, you're going to have losing teams.
True.
So if you're just going based on wins and losses, and that's the metric you're using, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I don't think you should have to apologize for like beating Auburn when Auburn was probably a goal line call that could have gone either way from maybe beating Georgia, or a bad a call that the referees actually butchered from beating Oklahoma, or a late fumble from beating Alabama. What my point is, they have the record's bad. The team is not that bad. Florida, bad team, beat Texas. Mm-hmm. Missouri, pretty good team. You're going to tell me Missouri's not good because they lost, some really close games against teams that are in the playoff? It's one thing if you're Missouri at 7-5 or 8-4, and every time you played a team that's in the playoff, you just got obliterated. That's just not the case. Those were always very competitive games.
OB, thank you, sir. Enjoy your trip to Houston. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That is at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. John Harris coming up next on TexAgs Live.
Welcome back into TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is hour number 2 of the program, and we go to the Puppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. We're joined by the professor, John Harris from the Houston Texans. He's their sideline reporter and, of course, the founder of footballtakeover.com. Johnny, good morning, buddy.
Good morning, David. Hey, David, ask me what I did last night.
John, what did you do last night?
I had an opportunity to meet a great ag, Cassius Howell. I spent about 15 minutes with him, did a podcast with him for the Lombardi Award. He was in town. He's one of the finalists, along with Jacob Rodriguez and David Bailey from Texas Tech and Caden Proctor from Alabama. So I got a chance to talk to him last night. Awesome kid, tremendous steward of Texas A&M. Just really enjoyed spending my time with him last night. And I also got to see my good friend, Dat Wynn, who also won the Lombardi back in 1998, the only Aggie to do it. So it was a good night kind of hanging with the Aggies last night here in Houston.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome company, my friend. Dat Wynn and Cassius Howell. So nice job, buddy.
Yeah, man, blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again. But yeah, I got asked to do the podcast with the finalists, and David Bailey and Caden Proctor got held up. Bailey's sick, so he wasn't there. Proctor's parents were there, but Proctor is on his way. But really enjoyed getting a chance to meet and talk with Jacob Rodriguez, who's been unbelievable this year at Texas Tech. And then talking to Cassius. It was interesting because Cassius is from Kansas City, so he's a big Chiefs fan. And when I told him that I was a sideline reporter for the Texans, he kind of glared at me like that kid from LSU. He didn't start talking trash, like he did, getting all hyped against that kid at LSU. But I don't think he really liked the fact that I was with the Texans and what the Texans did to his Chiefs a few days ago.
Talking to Johnny Harris here on TexAgs. Hey, Johnny, to talk about more meetings, I was just told that at the last, which game was that, Caden, that you met Johnny?
The Bills game.
The Bills game, Caden Schwartner, who works the social center for us, that he saw you at the game and you guys chatted for a few minutes.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I mean, it's funny. I see all kinds of people that, I think they're going to tell me, oh, yeah, Texans, I hear you on Texans, all that kind of stuff. And then I find out, no, man, I listen to you on TexAgs every Wednesday. So I appreciate all the Ags out there. Get a chance to meet them. I met a few last night that were talking about, the Aggies, of course, and hearing me on TexAgs. So it's always been a great forum for me to, come on and just talk ball with you. And obviously, you're family to me, so it's always great. I ran into remember the sports information department last night, Kat, and she was talking about how much she loved Billy Lucci. And she's like, oh, I just got off the phone with Lucci. I was like, were you on the phone for like an hour and a half? And she looked at me and she goes, you get it, don't you? Like, yeah. I was like, I love Billy, but man, he loves to talk. So it was really cool. Just kind of, touching base with a lot of Ags last night and over the years, at games and such. So it's really cool.
Johnny, I think of you as a purist when it comes to college football. So I'm curious, what do you think about these playoffs, like just the 12 teams, the way it all worked out, and what would you like to see college football turn into? What kind of postseason, considering the bowl system, considering the playoffs, considering, people opting out, programs opting out, like how would you like to sprinkle your pixie dust and fix college football?
Oh man, that's a matzo ball right there. But I think one of the things, as what's the old phrase? Pigs get something, hogs get slaughtered. Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. I feel like the conferences are too big. I hate to say it that way, but the way it's constructed, it really is. It's too big. Now, if you wanted to leave the conference size as it is, and then create a situation where you basically set up like an SEC style tournament where you had the top 4 teams in the conference play the week before a championship game and then play a championship game with the winners of those 2 games, like you would a little mini 4-team tournament. I think that would work. I just feel like all the conferences with all these tiebreakers, other than the Big Ten, where it was just pretty easy, where it was, number 1 versus number 2, both undefeated teams. But, you had tiebreakers in the ACC in which Duke gets in. Like, what? How does Duke get in? Didn't play Miami, Miami gets bumped, but yet Miami makes the college football playoff as an at-large team. Like, what are we doing here? So I feel like there's got to be a better way with the conference size the way it is. I mean, ultimately, what I would love to be able to do is go back to geographical rivalries, go back to geographical conferences, and somehow 10 teams per conference. Everybody plays 9 games. That way you get a better representative of the champion of those conferences, and then a 16-team playoff at that point. Now, I like a situation where buys are involved, but forget that. Go right to 16, have, 8 or 9 conferences of 10 teams each that are geographically aligned. Again, have a true representative where they all play 9 games, they all play each other, and then take the champs. As long as those champs are ranked in the top 16, they're invited. If they're not, they're out. And then you get the best 16-team representatives with a mix of champions and at large, and you're not taking teams that, quite frankly, don't belong. I love the fact that the group of 5 gets involved, but no way should they have 2 teams from a group of 5 involved. This essentially, to me, becomes a 10-team tournament. Now, I think that JMU will go up and fight for a quarter and a half against Oregon, but it ain't going to happen. Tulane may give Ole Miss a little bit of trouble for a quarter. The last we saw those teams play, Ole Miss blew them out. So, I mean, those 2 games, put it this way, I've seen people say this, and I agree with this. Those 2 games, the playoff knows, so they stuck those 2 games going head-to-head with NFL games that are happening that same Saturday. They know. The other 2 games that are going to be obviously rockstar games, Texas A&M and Miami, they want to have that a good full college football window. But Tulane and Ole Miss and Oregon and JMU are going on the same time that the NFL has its game on Saturday. Its game's on Saturday. So that tells you something. So I've always appreciated geographical rivalries. I think there's a way you could go back to it and just create 10 cap it at 10 teams. You play everybody in that conference, and therefore you've got a better representative of a champion from each of those conferences, as opposed to what's going on with the ACC, where Miami's in at large, but Duke won a conference. That doesn't compute in some way, shape, or form. So that's the way I would start. I'd go to 16. I unfortunately, even though I love the bowl games, I think you got to use the bowl games as playing games. Basically, that's probably about the best way to do it. I guess that's probably what I would do. I like the at-home playoff game. I think that works. So maybe keep that first round, then let some of the bowls stick around, and then play it out from there. But I just think the conferences have gotten too big, and it's created too much confusion as to who really is good in college football, in all honesty.
Johnny, I'm going to just kind of throw out an idea that I have. If you go to a Super League, 40-team Super League with promotion and relegation, okay? And then instead of conferences, you have divisions. You have the Southwest Conference Division, let's just say.
Yep.
And the Southeastern Conference Division and whatever. Like, you just kind of go around and you find your regions and define them like they used to be, and have an actual NFL model for making the postseason. The only difference having a promotion relegation system where there is a second-tier group, let's just say, that has their own playoffs, their own system, and it works kind of similar. But if you win it, or if you make it to the championship game, you move into that group of 40. Tell me that's a great idea, or is it a horrible idea?
Well, I think you and I are actually, we're speaking the same language with just maybe different dialects. Okay. Basically. I think that, I said, hey, maybe you have 8 conferences of 10 teams. Well, obviously in FBS football, we have 40 teams. So I think you and I are kind of on the same wavelength with that. Just, I have probably a few more teams involved, but I do think that there's eventually going to be, the teams that are a group of 5 are a lot of the group of 5 were FCS I mean, 10 to 15 years ago, Sam Houston, Western Kentucky, just look at CUSA, Liberty. Those were all programs that, were FCS for a while, and then they moved up. Well, essentially, that group has their own champion, kind of like FCS has. So I agree with you. I mean, that's what I would do. It gives those schools an opportunity to play for a championship, but you also get the cream of the crop. Now, you say 40, I say 8 conferences of 10. Which one? That's the key, is how many teams do you have? But I think you and I have the same exact thought process. I would love to see promotion and relegation. I don't think, though, the people that have not followed English soccer would ever understand that. Like, well, wait a second. So you're kicking me down because I've lost. But what are the, like, I don't think it's now, to me and you, we followed English soccer, so we know how it works, and it's beautiful. It's fantastic. Every single game has that much more importance. And imagine that next tier, that kind of in between FBS, FCS that we're talking about, that group of 5 champion goes up, would be fantastic. I mean, the drama that you would have in a game like that, it isn't just, oh yeah, by the way, Sam Houston's playing Western Kentucky for that championship. It is the winner goes up to play amongst the big boys. And, just like in Premier League, there's, financial infusion into that program. So I would love it. I think there would be so much that would go into it. But it just is too logical, to be honest. And you know that.
Just one more. First off, there's 2 thoughts I have, and then we should actually get to this year's playoffs. But one thought is, you can't do that without a guy who runs college football, right? Like, you have to have a leader, not a bunch of leaders that are just leading their conference. Or that's part of it. The other part is, and I know this would be unfair, but maybe there's a way to protect certain teams, because I know one of the ideas that was floated for the Champions League in soccer was to protect maybe 16 of the clubs that they could never be relegated from this series, right? So I don't know if that even makes sense, but a world where Notre Dame, A&M, Alabama, maybe they can't be relegated, but your bottom tier could be.
Well, then you can bring in a golf sort of situation. Like, if you win the Masters, you get, I can't remember what it is, but you get to play in the Masters for the next 15, 20 years. You finish top 10 at the Masters, you end up, getting a 5-year ticket to the Masters or whatever it is. So it can be based off of, record and history in some sense. If you win the Natty, okay, you've got a 25-year, immunity or whatever you want to call it. You get to stay no matter what happens. So yeah, I think there are things that you can probably take from a lot of different sports and bring it in and try and convince people that, hey, this could work. You're right. It would take a person. And that's the hard part, who that person is. Now, Joey McGuire says Josh Pate. Josh, I think, would do a pretty good job. But I think you have to have 100% gravitas with ADs, school presidents, etc. To me, the type of guy, I don't know that he would ever do it, but the type of guy to do it would be a guy like Oliver Luck.
I thought you were going to say that.
Because he has seen every single facet of this thing. Maybe Son would get tired of being a GM at Stanford. Andrew Luck, maybe give him that responsibility. I don't know. But it'd have to be somebody with some gravitas like that, that everybody would not, because look, nobody's going to ever be 100% good with it. Nobody's 100% good Roger Goodell. But there's at least that person that everybody in the NFL knows, oh, Roger's making a call. This is the way it goes. Roger Goodell wants it this way. There is that guy. That's what they would have to get to. Who that would be, I don't know. But I do think that if college football, the powers that be, and I don't even know who the powers that be are, to be honest, in college football, that's part of the problem. But whoever the powers that be are sat down and went, okay, let's look at these other sports that are successful. What do they have, and how can we incorporate that? And here's the thing, David. The problem in some sense with all of this is we just had this whole, Supreme Court decision, right? They were going to cap the salary cap, et cetera. Teams aren't, the universities aren't signing the agreement. They're not buying into it. So there's also got to be buy-in amongst the schools too. And that also gets to be very, very difficult because what do schools do? They protect their own interests. They protect their own conference interest. And I don't blame them for that. But it makes it that much more difficult when you're trying to get together to figure out how this thing should be, how it should go going forward.
Johnny, what do you think about the matchup, A&M and Miami?
Oh, I mean, as a football fan, I'm a pig in slop. I love this. And it's already gotten a little bit of juice, obviously, with A&M's offensive lineman talking about Reuben Bain and the Miami Hurricanes. Honestly, this might be, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, this might be the best front they've faced this year. Miami's front is damn good. And that's going to be a challenge. And that obviously, to me, is going to be the game. Because if the offensive line for A&M not so much dominates, but keeps Mesidor and Bain in check, and they control the interior guys. The interior guys are very underrated from Miami. But if A&M's offensive line kind of holds them in check, I don't know how Miami can win this game. But Miami's got some tremendous skill players. Malachi Tony's an absolute stud. CJ Daniels, tremendous hands. They've got guys that can do it on the perimeter. They can pound it a little bit. Offensive line has got some heft. Francis Maunoa at right tackle is one of the better tackles in the country. So Cash is going to get tested if he lines up over there. I think this is a hell of a matchup. I think it's a tough matchup for A&M to get, but you know as well as I do that thing's at Kyle Field. And that's going to be worth the price of admission. I find it fascinating in this year where, to me, I would have ranked A&M ahead of Ole Miss, where A&M could have gotten Tulane and Ole Miss would have gotten Miami. I think that's the way I would have done it, especially Ole Miss didn't move. I mean, I got a lot of issues with the way the committee did things, but the fact that Ole Miss didn't even move and A&M dropped from 3 to 7, losing on the road to a very good Texas team, that's the one issue I have. That said, can't cry about it now. Now you just got to punch the U in the face. And I think if they're physical up front and answer, and they can put a little pressure on Carson Beck, he'll throw him a couple. I think he'll throw him a couple if you can get to him. But if you let him get in rhythm, he starts slicing, and that's trouble. So you got to disrupt his rhythm in some way, shape, or form. And if you do, then I think he throws you a couple. I think you end up taking advantage of that. And then offensively, you got to get back, to some of the things you were doing with KC, with Craver. And it felt like the second half, they just couldn't get there against Texas. That's got to change against Miami to get that win.
Johnny, I'll let you go after this. Got about a minute here. What about Miami facing? Is this the best front Miami has faced?
Best defensive front?
Yes.
Oh boy, let me think. Yeah, I would say so. I can't think anybody that Miami has faced. And Miami did play Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's front, especially week 1, was not dialed in, and they were young and inexperienced. There might be somebody that they faced along the way, but I don't think they've faced anybody quite like Cassius. I don't think they've faced guys, like Regis Hicks on the inside. I don't think they've faced those guys. And I do think, when they did, the couple games that they lost, Miami's front did struggle with Louisville. And Louisville doesn't have, their kind of, whole is greater than the sum of its parts. They don't have great parts. But they played really well together, and they forced the ball out of Carson Beck's hands. And the edge guys did create some issue. But if you can't get them off the field on third down, they're, creating on first and second down, good run lanes and things like that. Then A&M's front's on the field for a while, and you just can't have that happen. They got to get off the field. They got to get the ball back. And they got to be able to get pressure on Beck. I think Maunoa against Howell is going to be one of the better playoff matchups, one-on-ones that you're going to have. That is going to be worth the price of admission. And talking to the young man last night, I got a feeling he's ready for it.
Johnny, appreciate it, bro. Enjoy tonight.
Love you. Yeah, man. Love you. See you.
My dog, Johnny Harris, on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll talk to Max Wright on the other side. Right now, it's the family-owned agencies dialed into TexAgs. The Rollo Insurance Group is doing amazing work helping small agencies keep up with the slow-motion corporate takeover of the insurance industry. Tech markets, education, succession planning are big, big challenges. Go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs and listen to Keith Lane's comments
with Jackson Rollo here in this studio not long ago. And at Rollo Insurance, Aggies are doing all kind of work to help out other Aggies. And when you're looking for insurance, there's no place better. Rollo Insurance is right here in the great city of College Station, right on Highway 6. They got 60 offices in the great state of Texas as well. Call them up at 888-44-ROLLO. 888-44-ROLLO. Go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That's rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. Welcome back to TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go straight to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our friend Max Wright, who's gonna, what do I call it? Keeping it right? No, that's not right. What do I say? The right stuff. The right stuff, the low price. Max Wright. What's up, buddy?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. So just let's kind of review the week. A&M stays at 7, kind of expected, even though I don't think right. But now they turned the page and they got Miami.
Yeah, I was really hoping that the committee would do us a little bit better. I wanted that 6th spot. I think that track is a bit more favorable. But man, I think this team's excited about the opportunity to, in my opinion, maybe shut up some people. Obviously we didn't finish the season how we wanted to. The game against the Longhorns was not a fun one to watch. And I know that the guys have a really bad taste in their mouth, but it does feel like this could be something that sets us up for a really good playoff run. Teams finally hopefully had a few weeks to get healthy and setting themselves up to go in against a good Miami team at home who's a solid team all around. So I think that when you look at if the Aggies are going to do what they want to do, which is obviously win a national championship, the track that they're going to have to go through to get there is undeniable of them being a true national championship team if they're able to pull it off. So I'm pumped about it. I know that the guys are really excited to get out there. Another thing, I wish that this wasn't an 11 a.m. game. I just can't understand why. I think this is one of the better matchups of the first round, and to put this at the 11 a.m. game is frustrating, but I'm sure the 12th man's going to show up, and it's going to be an unreal, electric atmosphere.
So when thinking about this path that A&M has to go, and I want to think about like when you were playing, you get a couple of weeks. So you don't play in the SEC championship game, which, I guess the good part about that is you get an extra week to kind of heal your body, right? But if you play in that game, you probably get an extra week to play later on, right? But whatever.
Absolutely. How
much can 10, 15 days really do for those nagging regular season injuries? I'm not talking about like the long-term injuries. We hope to see Le'Veon back. That's about time. But I'm talking about like, that extra bye week / a little bit of extra time between games. How much can that do for a regular season type of injury, like the nagging ones?
It does so much. I think people who know my career know that I had quite a few injuries throughout my time at A&M and played through quite a few. It does everything for you. It allows you to get more time in the training room. And what people don't understand is the practices that you have to go through week to week in the SEC to be able to compete up front in the trenches are physical. You're doing a lot of ones, good on good periods where you're having to go against, obviously for our offense, one of the better defenses in the country, and for our defense, one of the more punishing offensive lines in the country. So getting any time to not have to hit each other and go at it day to day is great for the physical side of everything. And then, I think especially at the end of the year to get 3 weeks before you have to go in and play another football game does everything for the physicality that you can then come back and play with against Miami. So for those who don't know, that at this point in the season, that's to some extent banged up. Everybody's got some sort of a nagging thing that they've got going on. And if you're able to mitigate that over these weeks before you go in and play Miami, it does a ton for you to be able to go out and play your best football. So I'm hoping that the guys are taking advantage of it. I hope that the training staff there, shout out to Lou and Katie, still know a lot of those guys. But I know that they're doing their best to get everybody as best prepared as they can be for this game against Miami.
When trying to play your best football when it matters, okay? What is the key? Like if you were to say, all right, like November was always a tough month while you were at A&M. I apologize for bringing that back up, but like,
appreciate that.
Was that maybe a product of the schedule got harder, or the injuries, or what I'm saying? Like if you could look back, because this team seems to have avoided that, minus maybe the Texas game and part of the South Carolina game.
It's a discipline thing. It's a mentality thing. I think the things that are to do something special is hard, and to maintain a level of excellent play is hard, and it takes discipline. It takes, on a Tuesday practice, whenever you have a tough run period against the defense, to say, you know what, my body's banged up. I've been banged up for 4 weeks, but I'm still going to go out there and get the reps that I need to be prepared for Saturday. I think that, obviously not talking any smack on any of my old teammates or anything, but I think that's something that we lacked on. I think that in the past we would
we would falter towards the end of seasons and wouldn't stay as disciplined as we needed to, and that's a testament to culture. And I think that you look at what Elko's building and what he has built, I don't think that we're going to see that same problem with A&M. That's where the difference is, though. For teams that can finish November, it's the teams that have built discipline, and no matter what is thrown at them and how they feel during the week, and the outside situations that are going on, the outside noise, they come to work every single day, and they're willing to put up the preparation that they need to, because ultimately that's what determines if you play good football or not. It's your preparation. You fall back on your preparation. That's something that we used to always say, and sadly we didn't always meet that bar that we tried to set whenever I played there, but you fall back on your preparation. And in the third quarter, whenever you're worn out and you're on a 14-play drive and you're playing against a potential first-round pick, you fall back on what you do in practice, because ultimately you're going to be worn out and you're going to be exhausted. And do you have the mental discipline and fortitude to go out and do what you have to do to win football games? It is at this point in the season, a gladiator mindset. Are you willing to push through, the pain, the soreness, the fatigue, to do what you have to do to get it done? And that's what it is. It's discipline, and can you go out there and do what you have to do?
Max, next week we'll get into the matchup and really break down the two teams. I appreciate your time, man. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.
Diego. Max Wright there on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. When we come back, Danny Enriquez from Canes InSight. He's gonna give us the Canes InSight, if you will. Sorry, my OB-isms aren't as good. Milliken Reserve Time, farm to table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces. They have a mission to build a healthy community around nature. They have beautiful 2,600 acres of open space. They've got 30 miles of trails. They've got homes. And the extensive network of trails throughout a wooded landscape is just breathtaking. It's a place for families to cherish for generation after generation. And they're committed to maintaining and restoring that natural habitat. When you go there, you'll see all the beautiful white-tailed deer you can imagine, the songbirds, the rabbits, the turtles. And homeowners at Milliken Reserve sharing a legacy of conservation, which means generation after generation, you're coming back to that pristine countryside place, an enduring resource, and a place to come together. The website is millikenreserve.com. That website again, millikenreserve.com. Go check it out.
What's up, everybody? I'm here to tell you about Fratella Italian Cafe. If anyone knows anything about Italian food, it's me, Billy Lucci. And Fratella has the best Italian food in BCS. Located at 3901 South Texas Avenue, Fratella is known for their handmade pasta dishes and feature lasagna, beef cannelloni, chicken parmesan, chicken fettuccine alfredo, a couple of my favorites, just a big old bowl of plain old spaghetti and some manicotti. Really recommend the manicotti. That's my go-to. And don't walk out of there without trying the fresh, piping hot breadsticks and the homemade in-house cheesecake, which is incredible. It's great for dining in, catering, gift cards, and even shipping, which they do nationwide. Fratella's is Aggie-owned and operated, and it's an official restaurant partner of Texas A&M Athletics. I'll see you there.
We're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Super excited about our next guest. Danny Enriquez from Canes InSight is joining us on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. So, Danny, I think you know the story, but I was at humble brag at Pate's wedding, Josh Pate's wedding, and I'm sitting with Cam Gorby, and he worked for the University of Miami, and we just had a great time chatting together. And he's like, dude, I got to get you connected with Danny. He's the best. So I'm so happy that you're joining us now, man. Who would have known in May that this would be why we'd be chatting?
Yeah, pretty good, right? Pretty good reason. And Gorby's got a lot of screen time. I know Mario shouted him out because Gorby is SID, the University of Miami. He was kind of front and center, right, for this media campaign. You guys didn't really have to do that, right? You guys were pretty much in there. So Miami on the border, there was a full on attack media-wise, in terms of there were planes flying. There was a lot of stuff going on trying to get Miami into this playoff. So Cam Gorby right in the center of that. So shout out to him. And now we're here. Excited.
So, Danny, all right. I don't know what mob you alerted, but our YouTube page has been infiltrated with angry Miami fans who are chatting away. So I want to at least welcome many of those. You probably don't know this about me, but I grew up a dual fan. I was a Miami fan and I was an A&M fan because of family going to both schools. My brother Alex went to A&M, I went to A&M, and my oldest brother Robert went to Miami. So I remember the Gino days, the Bernie days, the Vinny Testaverde days, watched all those games growing up. So I have a lot of love for the University of Miami. Obviously, I want my alma mater to win, but I have nothing but respect for that program. And I remember Mario, like back in the day, Mario. Like I remember Mario not only playing, but Mario at FIU and all his other stops. What has been different about Mario this year?
First of all, it's funny that they're getting so much anger from Miami fans. I actually was talking about Texas A&M in my show this morning right before I came on here, and the consensus was everybody likes Texas A&M fans. We traveled over there for a game in College Station a couple of years ago, and the consensus, and I would echo this, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on your show, is Texas A&M fans were very nice and respectful, and it was not a hostile vibe at all. Obviously a spirited vibe, but nothing, like we see with Miami, Florida State or Miami, Florida in some of these games. So I haven't seen that on my side. I think people just know it's a good team and they're excited to play. But as far as Mario's progress, the team that you guys saw in 22, obviously a far cry from what you're seeing now from a talent standpoint, just the steady acquisition of portal talent plus the high school recruiting starting to stack up. You've seen a progression. I think what you saw in 2023 when Miami played Texas A&M, and obviously a different Texas A&M team, totally different program, but that was a little closer maybe to the talent level that you're going to see here. A big difference being the offense, the quarterback position has stabilized since that 23 season. Cam Ward last year, obviously the first pick of the draft. Carson Beck right now looking like a future NFL player, top 10 in passer rating. So it's a program that's been steadily building. Get a major setback with that Georgia Tech game, which made national headlines where Mario and the offense didn't kneel the ball when they could have salted that game away. So that was a major setback perception-wise, but it's been steady climb. Didn't get over the hump last year with a lot of defensive struggles. Best offense in the country with Cam Ward. Defense much, much further down the line. Kind of an imbalanced team. Didn't get over the hump. Now this year, able to get over the hump and excited to test themselves against the Texas A&M team that I know, just talking to people off the record, Miami has a ton of respect for.
Danny, do you think Notre Dame should have been in the playoffs? I'm not saying it at Miami's expense, but the part that I struggle with for them is I think it should have been Miami over Notre Dame. I just wish it didn't come down to Miami over Notre Dame because I do think they had a legitimate beef, especially with the week prior being told that they were at this spot and then not even playing and losing ground.
Yeah, the whole up and down nature of it. I said on my show 2 weeks ago remember Alabama jumped Notre Dame for beating an Auburn team that really was not playing very well. And the explanation didn't make any sense why Alabama moved up just for beating Auburn in a tight game when Auburn really hadn't been playing well. So when that happened, I made the comment on my show that, I watch professional wrestling with my kids, and even when they're not around, I still watch. But it seemed like a WWE script, right? Because there was no reason for Alabama to move up over Notre Dame after the Auburn game unless you were setting up the exact scenario that we saw. BYU loses to Texas Tech. They're touching each other there on the rankings. Miami does the flip based on head-to-head. So the process, I get why they're frustrated. In terms of if you just boil it down, Notre Dame is a very good team, obviously. I think talent-wise they could be in that field of 12. But so looking at the teams Alabama beat and the teams that Notre Dame beat, obviously, you saw Notre Dame firsthand when they played, but they didn't beat anybody of the level of some of Alabama's victories, right? You talked about their best win being against USC, a 3-loss team that's kind of upset with their direction and their coach. I don't see that as a resume to be a playoff team compared to Alabama, although talent-wise, certainly they do have enough talent to compete. But I think that's really what it boiled down to, is just the quality wins weren't necessarily there to jump Alabama, and then the head-to-head against Miami.
The SEC homer in me thinks to myself, and look, I know the talent that Miami has, so please don't take that as a shot. I think they are SEC talent or beyond, right? They've got a talented roster. But like, if I'm just trying to separate, teams and look at things through a maroon tint, I'd be like, they play in the ACC. Yeah, they beat Notre Dame early on, and A&M beat Notre Dame early on. But like, who have they beat since? So I want you now to have the platform to be like, yeah, Pitt was a really good team at the end of the year or whatever. Like, so who did Miami beat that maybe is of the ilk of some of the opponents in the SEC?
I mean, I don't think really they have in terms of who they beat, but I do think that the way that they're built, and I think you'll see this when the teams match up, you'll see it really just walking off the bus. I mean, this is an SEC type of build. Morrow coming from Alabama right before he went to Oregon. So he knows what it's supposed to look like. I probably saw Nick Saban talking about before the final rankings came out that Miami would be, in his view, the most dangerous team if they got into the playoffs, just because of the way they're built, the physicality. And I think that's because it was very much built in that old Alabama style. Offensive line is extremely large, probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest offensive lines in the field of 12. Defensive line, a strength, probably one of the better defensive lines in the field of 12. I would say them and Ohio State are probably right up there in that category. So I think the way that Miami's built is much more akin to an SEC team. So it's not so much about who they beat to get there, because aside from Notre Dame, I don't think there was any real high-end teams, but it's more just about the way Miami is put together, that I don't anticipate them looking out of place in a playoff setting.
Yeah, I don't either. I think these teams are very even from a talent perspective. If I were to break things down, I would say it's the quarterback who plays the best, and I have to give a little bit of an advantage to Kyle Field, more than a little bit. I think,
oh yeah,
you've seen it. Kyle Fields is a different place. That team that beat Miami in 22 wasn't very good, and Kyle Field, I think, was maybe the difference in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, he had a muff punt there late in the game by Tyreek Stevenson, who now plays for the Bears. That was a big difference in that particular game. Obviously, I think the environment, everything else kind of got to him there. But yeah, Texas A&M, I think just from the Miami perspective, watching Texas A&M, obviously the roster, but the offensive line, I think, stands out because in the ACC, you're not getting that caliber of offensive line, and Miami's defensive line is so superior that's such a mismatch every week that it kind of tilts the way that the game goes. Whereas in this game, it'll be a much more competitive matchup up front. So we'll have to see how that affects the way Miami plays on defense. Miami did play Notre Dame, which was a better offensive line, and they dominated that matchup in terms of defensive line, offensive line. But from my view, I do think A&M's offensive line is better than Notre Dame's, just from a size, experience, the way they play together. I would place Texas A&M over Notre Dame's offensive line. So that to me that's the matchup, is Ruben Bain, Akeem Messidor, and Miami's defensive line versus Texas A&M's offensive line, strength on strength.
Danny, I want to address the Bain comments from Texas A&M, Trey Zune. I'm just going to explain it from my perspective. I don't think he was being disrespectful. I think he was being a college kid who was in the moment, like trying to figure out who they're talking about, and just saying, I'm not worried about him. And it just came out wrong. That's how I took it. I know fan bases always take anger from what other teams say, and coaches do well as well. I'm just saying that because that's not Trey's nature to talk trash. So do that with, however you want to see it. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, I think it only matters really to two players, right? It's going to matter for Trey Zune and for Ruben Bain, right? The rest of us doesn't matter. I'm excited to see the matchup because when I watched about 9 Texas A&M games the last couple of days, and he stood out. He was a really good player, I thought, just watching him. I'd heard his name as far as some NFL talk, but now seeing him, he was a really good player. So that's going to be a very exciting matchup. Now, will he be matched up against Bain or Akeem Messidor, who's Miami's other defensive end, who's also one of the better defensive ends in the country? So that matchup, we'll see how it shakes out. But I will say Bain is the type that he is one of those guys that uses those things as motivation. He got a lot of press earlier this year. He has a notebook, like one of those notebooks you had in school, and he would draw, little cartoons and write little phrases in there. Some of them I cannot repeat on this show, but like he's a self-motivator in that way. And he for sure is taking it as disrespectfully as possible. But if he goes out there and doesn't perform, Zune will be the one that just backed it up, the Joe Namath. And if Bain goes out there and performs, it'll be him taking the disrespect and using it to dominate. So it kind of depends on how it goes on the field, how it'll be perceived. I don't think it's a fan issue as much as it is. Ruben Bain will take that personally, and I'm sure Zune's going to be fired up, ready to show what he can do, and it's going to be a really fun matchup.
I was talking to Gino Toretta yesterday, humble brag again. And I asked him about Bain's numbers the last couple years, and he was like, look, he's getting double and triple team. Like, that's part of the reason. So the fact that he is getting so much attention, what does it do for the rest of the line?
Yeah, you guys had Shamar Stewart last year, who was a Miami guy. I watched him in high school, right, from Miami Monsignor Pace High School. So I would say Bain is somewhat like that. I think he's a more impactful than Stewart at the college level. Stewart had the length and stuff, which was different. Bain, a much more sawed off, low to the ground player, whereas Stewart's kind of like exactly the way you draw it up. But Bain, yeah, the sacks don't necessarily reflect his ability. He is double teamed, triple teamed a lot. Messidor's had a lot of success on the other side. Because of that, you're seeing the impact in the run game, which I think with a lot of edge rushers, you don't hear as much about. But Bain is he's not just a competent run defender. He is an impactful run defender because of his power, right? The knockback is really his thing, is the ability to knock the offensive tackle, or if he's lined up inside the offensive guard, back. That's really where his ability shines through. He's low to the ground, but when it comes to power, he's going through guys and generating that lower body explosion. And he's a different build. Like, if you see him walking around, you would never say this guy's one of the best players in the country. But then you see him in pads and you see just kind of how he's positioned and how he explodes, and it makes more sense. He's not a guy that's going to be getting, a sack in a game and then you don't see him for the rest of the game, which you've seen guys like that. You're going to feel him on every play because of the way he plays hard and just the power against the run and the pass. So I think that's really the Bain style, is explosive and right through you.
Danny, last thing for you. One area that A&M has struggled is stopping big runs from happening, right? Some misfits. They'll do really good for most of the game, but then they'll give up a big play here and a big play there, and that was evident in the Texas game and some other games. How is Miami running the ball, especially when it comes to these big plays?
Yeah, great question. That's one of the things from a Miami perspective that I'm concerned about, is if you look at Miami last year, really throughout Cristobal's tenure, going back even to when he was at Oregon, Miami's always been, or his teams, Mirabal, which is the offensive line coach, and Cristobal's running games have always been 5+ yards per carry. Last year, they were top 5 in the nation yards per carry. This year, 91st, right? So significant drop off in the yards per carry. They still don't take a lot of negative plays. Top 5 in yards per tackles for loss allowed, sacks allowed, all that stuff. Miami's still very good, but the explosive element has taken a step back. And Miami also runs very hard between the tackles. They really, in terms of running between the tackles, percentage of overall plays, I believe they are also top 5 in that. So they don't get outside the tackles as much. Then you watch the Texas game, and that's how you want to attack Texas A&M, right? Their pass rushers are so explosive up the field, but maybe you attack them with your big tackles. So that's going to be something that Miami has not done necessarily great to this point of the season, but given what Texas A&M, where their weaknesses are, that's going to be an area you may see more of. I will say Gerard Pringle, number 22. So he is a smaller back. He's about 190 pounds, 10.5 sprinter. He was a top 10 back in the country last year out of Tampa. Signed with Miami, true freshman, really got going towards the second half of the year. And at that point, you saw Miami start to break off more explosive runs. So if you're just, watching Miami, keep an eye on number 22, because if you watch the Notre Dame game, you won't see him. Florida, some of these early season games, but later on in the year, Pittsburgh, NC State, he started coming on, and he's the one who's going to give you that explosive element.
Danny, great stuff, man. I appreciate your time. I'll shoot you an email later. I want to ask you a couple other questions, but I appreciate your time, man.
Appreciate you having me.
Thank you. Danny Enriquez there, Canes InSight. Appreciate him. And, of course, those Canes fans watching. They can watch all week. We don't mind. We like it. We'll watch your show too, Danny. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back. It's TexAgs Live. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. All right, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. So the Miami infiltration is here. I've been to many Miami games, and I know they're passionate fan base. They're being one guy in particular is being very passionate on our. He says, how many fans are coming?
20,000 guys, 20,000 Miami fans at Kyle Field.
So 20,000.
1 in every 5 people at the game will be a Miami fan, reportedly.
Well, I mean, I don't believe
Reports
that to be the
say.
case, but whatever. Like, I still think, I don't know, last time I checked, 20% of an audience is not 80%.
True.
80% at Kyle Field is like 100% somewhere else.
True.
I don't think that'll be the case, but, whatever. Good.
Believe whatever you want to, man.
Come. I mean, you don't even... Like, I've lived in Miami. They don't even go to their own games sometimes. I'm just saying, like, but now we're going to go.
That's what I said.
Here's the look. And again, I hate that I always qualify this. I have a lot of love for that program. I do. I grew up watching many of their games. I went to the Orange Bowl game when Tommy Frazier and Schlessenberg, whatever his name was from Nebraska, like beat Miami and they ended up winning the national championship in 1995, I think it was. Anyway, they support winners. And I think this Miami program is definitely a winner.
Of course.
But it's not Kyle Field, buddy.
It's not.
It's a different atmosphere. But
exactly.
I think the more I've broken this game down in my head and kind of researched, I think it's going to be a lot closer than I had initially thought. And I think they do have the athletes that can compete. Hopefully the Kyle Field factor makes a difference. When we come back, a little recruiting country, and then Peter Burns from the SEC Network. It's TexAgs Live. Welcome back into TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for Recruiting Country, presented by American Momentum Bank. Ryan Brauninger is in studio. What's up, buddy?
Good morning.
So, look, we're supposed to talk recruiting, and we will. But this conversation you brought to the studio, I feel like for 3 minutes we should...
Time out.
Uh-oh.
This is a conversation that I brought and Richard brought to B Team.
And there was another conversation you had on B Team as well that I had an issue with. But go ahead.
I never said, by the way, that tweet was meant to troll you last night. But the conversation on B Team yesterday had nothing to do. Cristiano Ronaldo's name never came up. We talked about our top 5 most skilled athletes of all time. And skills, different. There's crossover with skill and greatness, but it's not like LeBron to me is not like a skilled basketball. He is, but he's not the most skilled. LeBron's a freak show athlete. Like Richard started his list and he was naming Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders. And I'm like, yes, obviously highly skilled, but they're freak of nature athletes. I'm talking about guys that are normal looking, normal sized humans, but they're
Craig Biggio.
Biggio, I think I would say like grittiest player, top 5 grittiest player. I had Ozzie Smith.
Oh, he's so great.
Incredibly skilled, right?
Yeah.
I had
John Stockton.
Dan Marino.
Okay. Maybe the best passer I ever watched.
Best thrower of the football.
Yeah.
I would hate Aaron Rodgers would be up there. Just extremely.
I just like Dan Marino more.
Yeah, Dan Marino, but he was like the pioneer of throwing the football. Greg Maddux.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't do anything great, but incredibly skilled.
Great at many things.
And got guys out and could field his position, was like a 10-time gold glover. Number 2, the greatest shooter of all time, in my opinion, Stephen Curry.
Yeah.
And he's a normal looking dude, but his skill level is off the chart, and the number 1 was Lionel Messi. And there's your crossover between skill and all-time greatness.
Yeah. But then if we did the other list, which would be like human highlight performance film tape, whatever you want to call it, Bo, Deion, Ronaldo.
Sure. Those are guys, LeBron James.
Yeah.
Freak athletes that can do things that no other human on the planet
Surprised Kobe wasn't on anybody's list. Because I think from a skill standpoint, there might be nobody more skilled outside of Michael, right? But Michael was just an assassin.
I would say, and Kobe was too, but Kobe was so well-rounded.
Yeah.
Like, I was looking for skill as like, dude, Steph Curry, we've never seen anybody shoot the ball that way. He's 6'2", and there are a lot of people walking around the planet that are 6'2" and look like Steph Curry. That's what I was kind of going after, like most skillful athletes. Ozzie Smith.
But defense isn't involved in skill in this conversation. It feels like.
Technical ability. I mean, I guess you could, like, I'd have to sit there and think about defenders, but I think you think about skill.
I'm just saying.
Hold on, time out. Greg Maddux is a defender.
Yeah, Greg Maddux but I'm saying Steph, to me, I don't think of defense with Steph.
Yeah, for sure.
Just like I don't think about it with other players. The thing you brought up was, and we'll just do 1 minute of this, Mount Rushmore of Texas, professional athletes?
Yes.
And you said the only person...
There's one name that I think would be unanimous across the entire state. Like when you brought this argument to Dallas, Houston, San Antonio for the sake of just shrinking the state to the 3 giant metroplexes. If you brought this argument to all 3 and you said, give me your Mount Rushmore of Texas professional athletes, I think Nolan Ryan would be the only one that would be unanimous amongst everybody. Because you can look at his career and go, from Alvin,
right,
played for the Astros, played for the Rangers, and was like quintessential Texan and still has his ranches and all of the businesses that he's got going on. Like, I think everybody would be like, oh, yeah, Nolan Ryan's on there for sure. Like, easy, he's on there.
But if he only played for the Astros?
Be a little bit tougher.
Yeah. So it's the fact that he played at both.
Yes.
And both fan bases kind of claim him, right?
Right. And you could talk about Hakeem Olajuwon. You could talk about Emmitt Smith. You could talk about Tim Duncan. And if you went to the different metroplexes and made those arguments, for Hakeem in Houston, it's lay down.
Right.
For Tim Duncan in San Antonio, lay down. For Dirk or Emmitt Smith in Dallas. Like, everybody is going to have arguments in favor.
Earl?
Earl Campbell was one that got brought up that I think a lot of people would be on board with. Probably number 2.
Yeah.
But Nolan Ryan would be top of mind. Everybody, yeah, he's on there.
Yeah. You don't think Warren would make it, right?
No. I mean, he played for the Oilers, and that was it. And that was a very short window.
Yeah. It's an interesting conversation. That's what you can get on the B team, and then eating wings and
Shameless plug.
cookie.
Yes. I've got to figure out a bit on.
I'm a little offended that you guys didn't bring me up on the crumble cookie thing.
Why? Are you Mormon?
Huh?
That was why we did it. Because
No,
of
I
what
thought it was
happened
like
with BYU.
on the show. I heard you guys talking about like who could eat a whole crumble cookie. I've done it. I've done 1,000 calories on this set.
But
you didn't even bring
that
me
was
up.
more than 1,000 calories.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And you did it for
2 hours.
No, but I don't think that you have staying power in that arena.
For $3,000? Once a month?
We ain't
I'm
paying
in.
you $3,000 to eat crumble cookies.
No,
I'm talking about
But
like
the ability to do it. I have the ability.
Listen, here's some insight into how much of a big back I am. The other night, my wife made cookies, and she made the Oreo Pillsbury cookies, which are pre-made. You just got to put them in the oven, but they are delicious. And you know what I did? I took 2 of them, and I sandwiched a Little Debbie Christmas tree cake between them, and I ate it like a double doozy from Great American Cookie
Sounds
Company.
like 900 calories right there.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And it
3
was
bites.
delicious.
Huh.
It was big back behavior.
Big back. How about Carson Baker?
That's the worst segue of all time. You could have said speaking of big back, A&M got a big running back.
That's why I said Carson.
You didn't make Baker too.
Is it? Oh, is that what it says? That's what you sent me.
Right.
Oh, Baker, yeah.
Nuño, we got to work on this ESL stuff.
Should I say Bacher? What do you want me to say? Baker. Is that how you say it?
No, you do, but I'm talking about the comprehension of we're talking about bacon cookies, and you could have made the segue to Carson Baker.
But you
I said big back, and you said big running back.
Yeah, but I don't like to talk about people's size.
Big running back commitment, signee, whatever.
Carson Baker, who's big.
He is a bigger back than KJ Edwards, and 6'1", 200 is what we have him listed as. I think he's going to arrive a little bit north of that, probably closer to 6'2", 210. It's a Le'Veon Moss style of body. I don't know that he'll get as big as Le'Veon, but this was a fantastic get late in the cycle from Trooper Taylor and Mike Elko, who had some very interesting, both Coach Elko and Coach Troop had some very interesting connections to this one, like kind of unbeknownst to them until late in the cycle. Like, I actually know this guy that's really, really close to Baker and his family. Mm-hmm. I think what you're seeing is with what you saw with Carson Baker and what you're seeing in the state of Georgia is Trooper Taylor's reach does not just extend to the borders of the state of Texas. He's got real connections all over the South, and especially in the state of Georgia. He's been exceptionally good at making connections, and A&M has gone into that state, which is year in, year out, one of the most efficiently productive states, per capita in terms of putting players from high school to high-level college, then college to the NFL. There's a lot of kids that play professionally that come from the state of Georgia. So we haven't seen A&M attack that state like this in my 10 years of being on staff here at TexAgs as a recruiting analyst. It's just something new. But Carson Baker, as sort of the bow on the 2026 recruiting class, is as good of a cherry on top as you could possibly get, considering the circumstances that transpired ahead of his commitment with the loss of Jonathan Hatton late. Kind of on all that different. You go back and look at Hassan Longstreet, leaving the class late. What were they able to do? They went and signed Brady Hart, who has a ton of promise and has a lot of folks inside the program very excited about his future. Not much difference here in the fact that you lost a high-profile commitment late in the cycle and you were scrambling. You needed another player at the position. You didn't feel like you had to have one, but if there's going to be a player of this caliber come open and show reciprocated interest, then you go down that path. And whenever A&M went back in kind of the running back market, they were pouring over tape in the state, regionally, and with the coaching changes that happened at Florida, Carson Baker reemerged as a potential target. And so even as they were, after Jonathan Hatton decommitted, I don't think many folks in the building would have expected Carson Baker to be the replacement in the class. They were looking at kids in the state committed other places, smaller P4 schools, just going over senior tape to make sure they didn't miss anything. And then Carson Baker, I'm not going to say he fell in their lap because it took a lot of work. Like, it took real work. And I think it was savvy. It it was right out of the Mike Elko playbook for how he wants to recruit kids, and especially late. Like, they didn't get into a bidding war.
Mm-hmm.
They explained their position. They made a competitive offer. They were not, I can promise you, not the highest offer on the table by a long shot. There was one school, and if you read our updates on Carson Baker, there was one school, from what I understood, that went way over the top with an offer and they didn't get him. Because there is still a lot to be said for, hey, we're going to make a competitive offer. We're going to show you how we structure our financial allocations and tier them as you get older and you play more. Guess what? You make more money. That's every business anywhere. And I think a lot of and like some parents really, they enjoy that. And he's just not going to get into these massive bidding wars for high school players. Like, at some point, they're going to say, hey, we're out. And I think that happened, for instance, with Braylon Womack. Braylon Womack flipped back and forth from Auburn and Mississippi State. And I think at some point along the way, A&M said, hey, we're just not going to do this.
I just don't think it's good for a program.
And especially, like, you're going to index on a high school player he's a 5-star. He's good. He's a good player, really good prospect. But you're going, man, like, if we pay this 18-year-old this much and he walks into our defensive backs room and he's 18 years old and he's making more than everybody in there, some of these guys have been around the block and have played 25 or 30 games at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
How do we justify that?
Did you see Troy Aikman, what he said recently about he donated to NIL for some? He didn't say who it was, somebody at UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that guy left in a year. He's like, I am done with playing this bidding game. I'm not going to start giving the exorbitant amount of money just to land the guy that everybody thinks. And I think going back to A&M from that standpoint, here's our budget. Here's the type of player profile we want. If you fit, great. If not, we'll move on.
And you're going to have to probably push the limits on a couple of players. Like, as it got competitive for KC Concepcion, I think they had to be more competitive with their offer, right? Alabama they wanted him badly. And I think KC came to A&M and loved it and he liked what he saw out of Marcel in that practice. And so A&M didn't have to go as high as Alabama, but they just had to make it, they get in the ballpark, right? So there's going to be a couple of those that you have to go do. And for A&M, that has paid off immensely. I mean, look at what Concepcion and Craver have been for this football team. So they didn't do that with Carson Baker to try to, kind of realign the discussion here, but they didn't have to do that with Carson Baker. And they've landed potential, like, if he gets carries next year, it won't surprise me. I think KJ Edwards is going to get carries next year. He's an insanely gifted ball carrier. But Carson Baker, for you to land a player of that quality that late, that will impact at least the depth chart next year and that whole entire running back room and raise its floor, incredible job.
For those who don't know, talk a little bit about Trooper Taylor. Like, he's got an infectious personality.
Yeah.
You see him at practice, you see him talk, and it's not just like one position group that he gravitates. Like, everybody talks to Trooper.
No, and you listen to Coach Elko talk. It's that way with their entire staff. Like, Trooper Taylor doesn't just recruit running backs. By doing that, you'd be limiting his scope, his ability. Like, you'd be limiting all the attributes he brings to the table by just saying, hey, you're only recruiting running backs. And it's not just Troop, it's the entire staff. If Jordan Peterson's got a connection to a wide receiver, Jordan Peterson jumps in on that recruitment, and it's been like very selfless in that way. Adam Cushing with Sean Spencer and Tony Girard-Eddy. Like, there's going to be crossover because the staff comes from different areas of the country, and so they have connections in those places. So you'd be foolish not to use all those. But yeah, what Troop is like infectious personality. Like, the first time you meet Troop, you're like, no, like, all right, like, he's just hyped up. He's in a football setting. This is kind of like, he's not like this all the time.
He's that way all the time.
Every time. And it's different in terms of the energy because Troop's always high energy and bouncing around and laughing, and he's laughing and hugging on people, but it's consistent and it's like it's a personality trait that it'd be hard to maintain, but he does it and it's consistent, and it reminds me of Terry Price.
Oh, okay.
TP was like, it wasn't as loud. But he was like, what's up, baby? All the time. Like, it was so consistent, and TP was always so giving of himself to everybody, and it never changed. And I see a lot of that in in the way Troop handles like his relationships with people.
I think you know why? It's because that's who he is. It's not an act. It's
No,
not,
no, absolutely
This
not.
is a genuine who he is with everyone.
And like I said, the first time you met TP or the first time you met Troop, you're like, wow, that was a really cool interaction. And sometimes I think you don't necessarily think that personality trait is going to be consistent day to day with some people. And it absolutely is with Troop, and it was true with TP.
All right, let's talk about the 27, Caden McCarty, the commitment, and what went into
Yeah,
that.
speaking of Terry Price, that'd been one he'd been fired up about because this kid, Caden McCarty, can flat out get after the quarterback. And he is 6'2", 220-ish pounds right now. Had a record-setting season for Coach Brister at Cy Falls. Coach Brister is an Aggie as well. And had a game where he set the school record for sacks. I think Cade Drawn was there that night. He flies off the edge. Like, it's a lightning bolt off the edge for a high school player. He came to camp last summer without an offer, and he's undersized compared to the guys that were in his defensive line group. And he was playing that stand-up edge role. And I'm telling you, man, he ran by every offensive tackle there. And then when they started oversetting him, he hit him with a couple of spin moves or dips inside. And he walked out of that camp with an offer. And I think the A&M coaches went, oh, like, we didn't realize it was like this. Like, the tape as a sophomore, he was playing a lot with his hand in the ground, so he looked like an undersized defensive end. But when you stand him up and he starts playing that Cassius Howell role, and it's a similar build to Cassius Howell, and it's a similar build to Von Miller, that's what they envisioned. That's what they saw in Caden McCarty. So after that camp, I think his level of priority skyrocketed amongst the A&M staff because he was just so good where everybody was coming to watch those one-on-ones. Jason and I left that camp going, we got to move him up. And then he has his junior season where he has another double-digit sack year, and we moved him all the way up to number 12 in the state, and we view him as the best pass rusher in Texas. And so to lock him down early, a kid that's it'd take you about an hour and 5 minutes to get to Cy Falls High School from right here. I think it was a really important win for the Aggies and a kid that was dead set on staying in the state of Texas. I like that. I mean, he had offers from coast to coast, but his final schools were all in the state. That was cool. This is a kid that feels very proud to be from Texas, and he wanted to play his college ball in the state, and A&M won out. And he had a really cool announcement ceremony. It was a traditional where the entire gym is there, the school's there, it's inside the gym, and he's reading from his phone and thanking a lot of people and all that. And then he gets up to make his decision, and they've got I think his dad prefabricated a box.
Okay.
And he told his dad before he got up to announce, he's like, "You ready?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm ready." So his dad pulls out this like little control, hits a button, and smoke starts coming out of this box. He flips the box open and he holds up a WWE championship belt with A&M on it.
Oh, nice.
To announce it. And then he takes off his leather jacket. He's got an A&M shirt on, and then he kind of looks around. He's got breakaway pants on. Rips them off. He's got like A&M boxers, like long A&M boxers on.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. It was like
That's like WWE
it was.
theatrics.
Yes, it was. And like, you saw Cassius Howell went viral for that clip against LSU, and it's like, man, and Coach Elko said, you want your pass rushers to be a little bit like there's some theatrics that go on here. And Caden McCarty showed he may have a little sprinkling of that.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk a little state semifinal weekend, plus some early enrollees from the 26 class. Right now, we're talking Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. If you're looking for a selection that won't break the bank, just look at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They're stocking up on new vehicles all the time, and here's the thing. They're south of those big city prices, and they're going to make sure that you love the entire process when you go to Caldwell Country Chevrolet because they have all the great selection of vehicles that you're looking for, the great trade-in value, and, of course, that customer service that starts before, during, and after the process. Complimentary pickup and delivery for their service customers and free oil change for life as long as you own that vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Remember, it's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and you do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
We're back here on Recruiting Country, brought to you by American Momentum Bank on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. All right, we got Ryan Brauninger still with us. Let's talk about the state semifinal weekend. How many area teams are we following?
None in the area, but there are a few Texas A&M with signees and targets still playing. I will be at Legacy Stadium in Katy on Friday for Port Arthur Memorial against Smithson Valley. That is the 5A Division I state semifinal. Port Arthur Memorial, home of Tank King. He'll be playing Smithson Valley, the reigning 5A Division I state champions, and home of Ty Knudsen, 2027 quarterback. A&M's got one committed, but he does have an A&M offer. I think he had an uncle that was a walk-on at A&M too. Okay. So it'd be interesting to see kind of how both sides, very different styles. Port Arthur Memorial wants to play fast, and Smithson Valley is all about kind of grinding the game to a pulp. So very contrasting styles. Jason will be in Dallas. It would make me pull out. I should have pulled this out before the segment started. But Jason will be in Dallas for a doubleheader. I think he's got one on Friday and Saturday. So Jason he's got Carthage Brock, so he will go see DeQuivis Beck and KJ Edwards on Friday. And then on Saturday, he'll see DeSoto against South Lake Carroll. Not a ton of juice on either one of those in terms of A&M, other than DeSoto's got a running back in 2027 that's starting to get a lot of offers roll in, and he's visited a couple of times. Cade will be at a big one in Houston, North Shore against Lake Travis. North Shore has a couple of underclass kids that A&M's in on. Lake Travis has been rolling in the playoffs, and they don't have a ton of star power. So it's just like kind of the collective deal. Yeah. But across the state, I should have pulled all this up ahead of time. At one point, there were a lot of A&M commitments still in the playoffs, and I've lost count of that. Like last week, Hakeem Frampton won a state championship in Arkansas. I think Bryce Perry Wright is still going in Georgia. Aaron Douglas is out. But at one point, there were like 9 Texas A&M commits or signees still chasing state championships. I think after a couple weeks, that number has dwindled. But there are some huge matchups. And with A&M not playing this weekend and there's really no football on, I think this is the perfect weekend if you need to get your fix, whether you're in Dallas or Houston. Even San Antonio, Richmond Randall plays Bernie in San Antonio in the Alamo Dome. Richmond Randall, 2027 running back, Landon Williams-Callis, who's the number 2 player in the state in that class for us. A lot of people would have him number 1. He is an electric factory, and he's so much fun to watch. So if you're in the Alamo City and want something to do, you go check out Richmond Randall against Bernie. So I think this is the most fun round because we set the state championship slate for next week. Interestingly enough, Texas A&M will be hosting a playoff game. They cannot bring recruits to because it is a dead period. So our recruiting staff will be in Arlington. We'll have to watch the game. A&M kicks off at 11 a.m. on Saturday. That's the same time as 5A Division II state championship at 11 a.m. That 5A Division II state championship looks like it will probably be a rematch from last year, South Oak Cliff and Richmond Randall, where Richmond Randall upset Sock in the finals, and it was an incredible game. And we're like barreling toward a rematch. I mentioned Richmond Randall's got Bernie. Sock plays Melissa. Sock just steamrolled PNG last week, 28-0. First time PNG had been shut out in like 10 years. Their defense is really, really good. So I would bet the Golden Bears are itching for that rematch. So we will, Jason and I will have our laptops up watching the A&M game and then watching a game right in front of us.
What's this new rule that the early enrollees
Well, it's part of the House settlement. So the House settlement reset the rosters at 105. And I might be a little fuzzy here. I didn't get a ton of details. All I was told was, in the past, your early enrollees, it happened last year with A&M in Las Vegas. You saw like Noah McHale, Adonis Curry, and Marco Jones all went out to Las Vegas and participated in bowl practices. They'd graduated from high school. They had enrolled at Texas A&M, so they were open to do that. But now, with the 105 limit, from what I understand, you have to set that 105 in August, right before camp starts. And so you are unable to add to that 105 for the duration of the season. So while these early enrollees can move to College Station, I was told they're not allowed to participate in bowl practices. I don't know if that means if they're allowed to participate in workouts with Tommy Moffitt and the strength staff, but I do know you won't see them at practice for any of the playoff games.
Okay. And there's a high school game on tonight on ESPN, right?
Yeah, Helam and Kasuga and Draper, Corner Canyon High School out of Draper, Utah, are playing Baltimore St. Francis, which is where 2027 cornerback commit Raylon Henry plays. They're playing on ESPN2, and they're calling it the High School National Championship.
How
Which
did
is
they pick the teams?
well, I think it was just because they're two high-profile teams from across the country that both they wanted to play again. Corner Canyon won state last week, and I think that they were probably a couple weeks ago they were probably approached about this shortly thereafter, and the kids were like, yeah, let's play again.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to play again? So that happens tomorrow night on ESPN2. And I think they're going to have like a legit. I think Dan Orlovsky's on the call,
Oh,
so they're going to have like
putting the
legit.
A-team on
Yeah, they're putting legit people on this game.
Ronnie, thank you, sir. Appreciate
you.
you. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Peter Burns on the show right now. If you're looking for a reason to move back to Aggieland, or you already live in Aggieland and looking for a new opportunity, check out the Association of Former Students that brings Aggies of all ages together during their marquee events that they hold throughout the year. We're talking about the fun ones too, from Aggie Ring Day, Aggie Hullabaloo, you name it, they have it all there. And remember, they play a part in every Aggie story from howdy to here. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. If you're interested in joining the team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information on each position. It is the Association of Former Students.
All right, we are back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go straight to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our friend Peter Burns from the SEC Network and ESPN joining us here on the program. PB, what up?
Buddy, I miss you. I hope the Thanksgiving holidays outside of the game was good. Like, I feel like I'm getting back to some normalcy in my life, talking to you every Wednesday. What's happening?
Yeah, man, that game sucked. Now, just to be very honest with you, and it's had some ripple effects. Peter, A&M at their best, I think, can win a national championship. I think they're one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the country. A&M that played against Texas is not. How much do you read into the last couple of times we've seen A&M? The South Carolina game were an amazing second half, not such a good first half, and then obviously what they did against Texas.
I mean, I think it's college football in 2025, right? I mean, you're going to have some good, some bad, and you're going to find your way into bad matchups at some point. And that was one of them where they kind of shot themselves in the foot in that first half. And as bad as Marcel Reed and the Aggies looked against South Carolina, they looked like, honestly, like the 85 Bears in the second half where they were kicking everybody's ass. So, I mean, I think that's the one thing is, can you show me what your A-plus game is? And I've seen A&M at their A-plus game versus LSU, the second half against South Carolina, and just realized you're going to run into good teams the rest of the way. Texas was a good team. I mean, I think Texas is a team that could have won a game or two in the college football playoff. So, I don't think it's it's not the end-all worst thing ever, but the consolation prize is you're still going to get an opportunity to go play at, in Kyle Field. I'm just so upset that game's not the Friday night game. Like, I'm legitimately pissed off about it because can you imagine Kyle Field versus Miami at night? Oh, I got goosebumps thinking about it.
So I know that you were high on Bama getting in because you don't think they should have been left out because they lost the conference championship. Do you think we're going to reimagine the way those conference championships go here in the near future?
I think we would have had more of an active discussion had Alabama been left out, this year. And again, I mean, this is a Georgia team that I thought was peaking at the right time. And Alabama, I mean, I talked to people at Alabama throughout the week, and I knew I was picking Georgia all week long because Georgia was taking practice like it was, a day before the national championship. I mean, they were hitting hard, they were physical, and Alabama was like, man, we are so banged up. We're just trying to get by this week as good as we could. So that's the one reason why I ended up taking Georgia in that game. But I just think that game still means a lot to a lot of the power brokers. Not take the money out of the equation. Everybody's like, oh, it's all about the money. You can replace the money. You can find different ways to play that game. I just think that's such a celebration, and it still means something. Like, there's no way in hell you can't tell me that had A&M ended up beating Texas, you guys wouldn't be fired up, and I would have seen a whole hell of a lot of Aggies. In fact, I did see a whole hell of a lot of Aggies. I ran an R.C. Slocum, and he's like, I couldn't believe how many Texas A&M fans were here, hoping that the Aggies were going to punch their ticket to it. So, until I see there be a absolute, no-go reason to play in it, I think you still keep the championship game.
Talking to Peter Burns here on TexAgs Live. Peter, I'm glad you brought it up the way you did because I'm thinking, I've been saying this the last couple of days, from an Ohio State point of view, you're going to have to play Miami or Texas A&M. And both of those teams, and let's just say for this instance it's A&M, you're talking about a team that could have been the number one team in the country for most of the season, right? So to me, I feel like, and you're playing them in Dallas, if A&M is able to beat Miami, that just seems like for a team that had been number one all year to play a team that could have been number one all year, that seems like a hard first matchup.
Well, think about Oregon last year, right? They were the overall number one seed. They don't play a game, and then they go out there and they play a Buckeyes team that was incredible. So I think it could be very similar to, that situation for them. And think about the physical nature of it. They played a physical Michigan game. Okay, then they play a physical game against Indiana, which Indiana is for real. Like, I know last year I thought they were fraudulent. This year they are for real, right? And so now you can sit there and go, all right, once, the Aggies dispatch of Miami and get rid of that little team, then you're talking about that's another physical ball game. And that's one of the reasons why I had, the Aggies advancing pretty far in my bracket, because I think it's just a good fit for them as long as Elko learns the lessons of what Texas brought to the field. And I think that's one of the things, too, is when I learn from the coaches, and you hear it from them as well, too, nobody wants to lose a damn game, right? But then also it's, hey, it kind of knocks you off this, our blank doesn't stink and, we're, just untouchable. But it also gives you a teaching lesson. And I think the fact that you have that teaching lesson with a bounce back of being at home in Kyle Field, I think that's legit.
Talking to Peter Burns here on TexAgs Live. PB, so when you think about this Miami matchup, I do this every week, and you can make fun of me. Like, I'll talk myself into a victory, a blowout, I talk myself into losing. Like, I look at Miami, and I see a lot of talent. I see a team that is playing their best football maybe at the end of the season. I also look at a team that I don't know who they've played since since Notre Dame, I should say. How do you kind of caddy this matchup?
I mean, I wouldn't say Miami's fraudulent, but I don't think they're very far from it, honestly. I mean, I think Carson Beck is a good quarterback, but also I think I saw him make a whole lot of mistakes in the Louisville game. I saw him make mistakes against in SMU, which, I mean, if you're going to look at Aggie's defense in that front and what Elko is going to bring compared to Louisville and SMU, I mean, it's not even close. And then I also look at the environments that they played in. I mean, I don't care that, I mean, hell, you can play that game at 7 a.m., and you're going to have 110,000 going crazy in Kyle Field, I mean, frothing at the mouth to do something they've never done, which is win a playoff game. So, you know, again, it comes to making sure at the end of the day, you do not have a Marcel Reed that you saw in the first half against South Carolina. And as long as you don't have that, I think it's a war of attrition, and you damn straight, I mean, if I'm going to pick the Aggies in both lines of scrimmage over Miami right now. And listen, they're good. I mean, I'm not saying they're terrible or they're James Madison by any means or something like that, where they just don't have the guys. They have dudes, but not to the level that Elko and A&M have at the home field advantage.
Next week when we chat, we'll kind of break down these first-round matchups, but I'm just curious your thoughts on some of the repeats that we're getting, the Ole Miss Tulane, the Oklahoma and Alabama matchup.
Yeah, I think there was so much attention brought on, hey, Alabama, Notre Dame, and, Miami, who was going to get in, that they failed to start really looking at, why don't we go look at Oregon's schedule? Why is Oregon above A&M? Why is Ole Miss above A&M? I think that would have kind of looked into the room. And remember, there used to be the college football playoff kind of head of it was Bill Hancock. And I remember Bill, anytime that they'd have these conversations, they'd do their seeding, he would always come out and go, all right, now, in his old kind of Southern twang, are we sure that's the best way to rank these? And kind of a wink of like, do we want these, rematches? I mean, it is what it is, but again, I think there should have been more scrutiny of how A&M should have been ranked higher as opposed to where they ended up ultimately falling, because I think the committee kind of just punted going, all right, we don't really need to change these guys and really scrutinize those schedules like we did Bama, Notre Dame, and Miami.
Peter, last thing for you. The coaches rarely get what they want, and programs, administrators, they see things through a different lens. But Kirby Smart's comments after the SEC championship game to me are pretty loud in saying, like, this is our 9th conference game. This is going to be regular for everybody else. Do you see the SEC at some point say, you know what? I know that we get paid a lot for this, but this is just not worth it, especially if the way these games are being weighted?
I don't think you can go back, right? I think, and I asked that question to people that would know, and a couple of weeks ago, before we even got to this point, going, if the College Football Playoff Committee is not going to really value the strength of schedule, why did you add this game unless it was for a boatload of money? And it was for a little bit more money, but is it worth it? And I think that's why it was smart for the power brokers of college football to say, let's wait and to see how this whole thing plays out, and let's kind of reconnect on January the 23rd, a couple of days after the national championship, and then start looking at the format. I think this thing again expands, and I don't think we'll go to a 24, and I sure as hell hope we don't go to it. But I think we're probably looking at a 14-team or 16-team college football playoff where you could get a 9-3 team of Texas. You could get a 10-2 Vanderbilt team, because let's be honest, I think those teams could have won a game or two in the tournament. In 2021, when we used to be able to stack rosters before transfer portal, you wouldn't have more than maybe 4 teams that could compete. Now I think there's 12 to 14 that could actually go on a little run.
And then no way of fixing the bowl system, Peter?
Well, I mean, listen, if I could fix that, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I'd be a rich damn man. I mean, the bowl tie-ins or something, I think it's still ridiculous that if you could be a top 4 seed in college football and not get a home playoff game. Like that's absolutely asinine. That's asinine. And the same thing of having any kind of athletic director that currently is an athletic director on the college football committee, that has to stop. Stop those 2 things first, and I'll worry about the bowl system after that.
Peter, I appreciate it, man. Talk to you next week.
Happy holiday. Well, I guess it's always holidays. It's December. There's no rules. There's no diets. That's fine. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays, buddy. Talk to you later. PB.
Hey, bud.
On the Puppies Candy Bartending Hotline. When we come back on TexAgs Live, we're going to do Around Aggieland with Kaylee Dreyer and Caden Schwartner at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center's got some things for us to close out the show with. Right now, if you haven't done a documentary about your family, you're doing it wrong, guys. If you don't think about it, like if you want to tell your dad's story, your mom's story, your grandfather's story, you got to be thinking about the future generations. And that's what Chance McClain does with Heritage Films. He does these documentaries that for the future generations. When we did my dad's story a couple years back, I got to watch it with my brother's family and my family, and it was very therapeutic, right? But it's really going to pay off when my sons and my daughters tell their kids about their family, right? About their great-grandfather at that time. So it is an awesome thing. Chance does this first-class style documentary. We're talking 2 hours, and it is amazing. You're going to love it, like a Netflix-style documentary. Check out the website, yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341 is Heritage Films. It worked. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for Around Aggieland. Kaylee Dreyer's in the house. Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing well, thank you. What do you have for us on Around Aggieland?
So starting with volleyball, they landed 5 girls on the All Southwest Honors List, leading all schools in the region and setting a program record for the most accolades in 1 year. Logan Lednicki of Finnegans Paula Maddie Walk and Kendall Stowers were named to the All-Southwest Region team, while Morgan Perkins was named an honorable mention. The girls now travel to Lincoln, Nebraska to take on Louisville on Friday in the Sweet 16 for the second year in a row. And then moving on to soccer, Bobby Shuttleworth was hired as the new head coach for Texas A&M soccer. He was the associate head coach for Florida State, who won the national championship this year. And during his time there, the Seminoles had the top winning percentage in the nation with a record of 77-12. And then last thing I have, 6 Aggies received all SEC honors. Casey Concepcion earned first team at wide receiver, return specialist, and all-purpose. He was joined by defensive lineman Cassius Howe and offensive lineman Trey Zune. And then third team honors included wide receiver Mario Craver, offensive lineman Chase Basantis, and linebacker Torian York. And then after 3 weeks of no Aggie football, Miami will come to Kyle Field next Saturday for an 11 a.m. kickoff.
Dreyer, great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. We go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Schwartner, what do you have for us?
Well, I just wanted to circle back to something that we were arguing with some Miami fans in the comment section about. Not sure where they are now. They're gone. But if you are still listening, let's put it, here are the facts. Texas A&M strength of record is 3rd in the country. Miami's strength of record is 14th in the country. Texas A&M strength of schedule is 16th in the country, and Miami's strength of schedule is 45th in the country. So those are the facts. It's not that we haven't played nobody. Those are the numbers. Argue with a wall.
So they were arguing about A&M hasn't beat anybody is what you were
Correct.
Hearing? Look, at the end of the day, we get a chance to watch it happen, right? And I do think I think they're better than I thought when the matchup came. So going back to Selection Sunday, I was thinking to myself, I think Alabama is your best matchup for A&M. Then I thought Miami. Then I thought Notre Dame, of the teams that were likely to be who they would be playing against. And I was thinking, look, the reason Alabama is I think A&M matches up with them well, but Alabama doesn't typically beat themselves, and I've seen Miami beat themselves. But at the end of the day, now that I've done more research, I do worry about the Miami defensive line. And I do think when a Carson Beck is on, he's really good. But that goes for any quarterback, right? But Carson Beck, he's either really bad. In the 2 games they lost, he was not good. 6 interceptions in those games. You look at Marcel, the couple games that they struggled in. He played poorly in the first half against South Carolina and definitely poorly in the last few minutes of the game against Texas. And if you look at it, the 2 games he's played against Texas in his career have been probably his 2 worst games.
True. Another thing that I found that could be concerning is, and we talked about it for the Texas game, is don't let this be the game where Texas finds their run game. The Aggies are 78th in runs of 10-plus yards allowed. They're 103rd in runs of 20-plus yards allowed and 122nd in runs of 30-plus yards allowed. But the Canes are 84th in runs of 10-plus yards allowed. 84th in runs of 10-plus yards, 123rd in runs of 20-plus yards, and 110th in runs of 30-plus yards.
Numbers, my goodness. I got
they
lost.
struggle to run the football. We struggle to stop the run.
Well, here's the thing. That's the exact same thing we heard about Texas.
True.
So fix your misfits, and then hopefully everything is fixed, right? Like A&M the last 2 seasons has struggled with big plays. And sometimes those big plays happen, not as much this year. Yards after catch, right? A&M had a hard time tackling last season. This season, much better at gang tackling. They still have some struggle stopping a big play or 2 popping off to set up some momentum, and we saw that in the Texas game. Any final comments or texts on there to get into?
Had a quick question from the YouTube chat about a potential sleeper breakout player in the playoffs for A&M.
Well, can we say Le'Veon Moss is a breakout?
Is that a sleeper?
I mean, we haven't talked about him in months, so yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah. A sleeper. Look, I think you're going to go with your absolute best the rest of the way. You have no wiggle room. So from a sleeper perspective, can you even say Nate Borkacher as a sleeper when he has maybe one of the biggest catches in A&M history, if not the biggest, against Notre Dame? I could see a big game from the tight ends.
Yeah, true.
All right, thank you, Gaten. Good job. All right, that's going to do it for TexAgs Live here on a Wednesday. My thanks to all of our great guests. Who do we have? We have Olin Buchanan. He was pretty good, dressed up nice to go to the awards event later on this evening. We had John Harris. We had Max Wright, Danny Enriquez from Canes InSight, Ryan Brauninger, and, of course, Peter Burns from the SEC Network. So tomorrow on the program, We got the fan show, guys. Got to apologize about that. Yes, we're going to have to do that for an hour. So we'll have that crew in here. We will also have Stephen McGee and Ryan Swope. And here's the worst part of it all, at least from a show content perspective. Like, we still got a week to wait for a freaking game, right? Like this weekend, what do we have? We have the Heisman. We got Army Navy's this weekend too, right? Yeah. So at least we got that, and we've got the high school state semifinals. That's going to do it for TexAgs Live here on a Wednesday. We'll see you mañana.